rebel against the whole society. Like getting license plates on your cars. A lot of people are just going to take cars and drive with no license plates, no license, no nothing. You know? Read on.
And the earth shall be wasted, and the cities shall be cast down.
And the earth shall be wasted, and the city shall be cast down. Go ahead.
There shall be no man left to till the earth.
Right, there shall be no man left to till the earth. Nobody's going to go out and farm because it's just going to be chaos. Go ahead.
And to sow it, the trees shall give fruit, and who shall gather them? The grapes shall ripen, and who shall tread them? For all the places shall be desolate of men, so that one man shall desire to see another, and to hear his voice. For of a city there shall be left 10, there shall be 10 left.
You hear that? For of a city. Now, in a city, you got millions of people in one city. They said, and when that famine and that death comes, they said you're going to go to one city, and there's going to be maybe 10 people in that whole city. Go ahead.
And 2 of the field, which shall hide themselves in a thick grove, and in the cliffs of the rock.
You know, a lot of people are going to go back into caves. A lot of people are going to go into abandoned buildings, which is nothing but modern day caves. Go ahead.
As in an orchard of olives upon every tree, there are left 3 or 4 olives. Or as when a vineyard is gathered, there are left some clusters of them that diligently seek through the vineyard. Even so in those days there shall be 3 or 4 left by them that searcheth their houses with the sword. And the earth shall be laid waste, and the fields thereof shall wax old, and her ways and all her paths shall grow full of thorns, because no man shall travel there through. The virgin shall mourn, having no bridegroom. The women shall mourn, having no husband.
Wait a minute, that means what? What's going to happen? That means 7 women shall take hold of 1 man. So a lot of these women get jealous. Where you going? You better not be cheating on me. First of all, a man is not cheating when he deals with another woman. He's supposed to have more than 1 woman. There's going to be one average man's going to have 20, 30 women. And another guy might have 40 or 50 women. That's how it's going to be. And you know what? You men, you women better get used to that, okay? There's nothing wrong with that. Because another thing, there's going to be a lot of there's going to be a lot, you don't even have to take care of them, because it says in Isaiah that they're going to take care of themselves until the kingdom is established. They're going to take care of themselves and take care of you. Why? Because there's going to be a very few men in this society.
One second. Can y'all brothers hear me? All right. Yeah, y'all both on mute. Hold on. I got you. All right. Shalom. Yeah, first we want to say, Haloyim, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Kakwadash. Shalom, double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Clip of with the voice of the Apostle Hard. That was from a Union Square video, Union City. I believe it was in New Jersey. And we want to say shalom and salutation to everybody that's tuned in, paying attention. Shalom. Let me change the screen up a little bit. All right. It's lucky. Yeah, you got cut out. Let me put it back. Yeah, so shalom to everybody. This episode is called The Great Awakening. one thing I'm gonna say before we, get started. I got the let me introduce everybody. I'm Rapab Moth, GMS Classic Kings. To my right,
Ariala, GMS Dallas.
Oh, you muted. Say that one more time.
I'm Juan Gabar, GMS New York.
And I want to say real quick, man, when it comes to candid questions, when it comes to off the top, when these type of conversations we've been having lately through the Spirit How about Shemi Al-Shah, I'm noticing that a lot of camps are trying to switch it up to do it. They trying to get into it a little more. But the thing is, none of these brothers know what I'm about to ask them. Through the Spirit of the Lord, we just going off of the head. We flying off the head. And that's what makes GMS had that genuine spark, man. Because brothers is always ready. We stay prepared. We asking the hard questions and it's unscripted. Not like where you had Captain Zariak the other day get hit with an unscripted question and he kind of dropped the ball on that, right? On the jab question. We all know about that now. So a little bit about the specific show that we're gonna have. It's not about us. Even though we're talking about situations that we've been involved with, it's not about any individual that myself, Elliot Ariala or Ella Amon Gabar. It's about understanding the body and how the head operates the body. It's about further understanding what the body's made of, who's part of the body. Our stories are being received by believers who've been in for over 10 years to the Akim just learned last week, right? And these stories that we sharing, they're going to be told in the kingdom, man. These are needful conversations. These Akim know the fight's not over. We all know the fight's not over, but it barely began, as a matter of fact, But the body's still growing, it's still maturing, and it's still becoming more efficient as time goes on. The Akim here, brothers is at least 10 to 15 years in the game. I'll say roughly 15 each. And that's how old we are in this truth. And so, these brothers specifically, they leading examples, of men that stuck it out and through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemi Al-Shah, while Rakak Wadash, he stuck it out to this time. And so, I'm glad to have these brothers here. We're going to get into some of these first questions that I got lined up, man, through the Spirit. The Lord just be giving me questions to ask brothers and going into these conversations and opening up for more edification. The flock needs it, and the water for everybody joining in too, man. We definitely want to hear from y'all on the comment section. If y'all have any questions, go ahead. But we're going to start with the BC, what I call a BC era. That's before camp. That's how we're going to kick it off with the BC era. All right. So once again, your name, tribe, camp, and years you've been in the truth.
All right. I'm Ariala, and I'm Rabarwan or Ruben. All right. And I came in during the time of the end of 07 into 08. So, yeah, right at 15 years, man. 15 years, and we still going strong. Let's go, champ.
Go ahead, Gabar.
I'm Juan Gabar, GMS New York. I came in the summer of 08 and joined the camp that fall of 08.
I came in 08. Gabar came in the same day. Was that it?
Yeah, we came in the same exact week.
Same week. 2 days. The name first, I else in the game. So we joined in Yashawamba. All right, you could give me a name, tribe, camp, and years in the truth. Babaka Shah.
Shalom, Yahweh Shemi Al-Shah, Bashim Rakakurash Brakathum.
Shalom.
My man.
That's my quarterback.
Yashawamba, Ban Yahawada, Great Millstone, Dallas. And you asked what year I came in?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if your mic went out, but yeah, I came in probably around what was it, Ariala? What?
End of 07.
Was it July?
Mm-hmm. That's when we. That's when y'all.
July, October.
Movement.
I think y'all on mute. I can't hear y'all for some reason.
Can you hear me, Elder?
Yeah, we can hear each other. We can hear you.
I don't know what's up with the sound. I work on that, but yeah. Probably around July, August of 2007.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So in the book of Romans 10, right? Now we're gonna get some scripture first off to kick it off.
Yeah, I can't hear. Hold up.
Yeah, do your thing. I'm gonna mute him for a second. Y'all brothers can hear me or no?
Con.
All right.
Loud and clear. I can hear everybody good.
Con, same here. I got here Romans 10 and 14. And it says here, how then shall they call on him in whom they have not believed? And how shall they believe in him of whom they have not heard? And how shall they hear without a preacher? Verse 17. So then faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of Yahweh. And the question is, who's the first person you heard teach the word? And how did it affect you?
You want to start with me?
Go ahead. Yep.
When we say the word, are we talking about the doctrine of Great Millstone?
Nope. Just the word.
Okay. The first time that I learned of the knowledge of Ben Israelite was someone who was in a Ben Ami camp, actually. This was in probably the end of 06, beginning of 07. And started going over scriptures showing that how we was Jake, breaking it all down, breaking down the elites. But he didn't call them Esau. But kind of going into that knowledge and showing the scriptures that kind of spoke towards those things. And that it affected me in the fact that at that time, I had been studying a lot of stuff. So, and it was something I never heard of, but I grew up in the church and so it intrigued me. So I just dug deep. And eventually that led to going on YouTube and seeing the Comforter. And then after maybe a month, seeing the Apostles and Elders. The original Great Millstone page on YouTube. And they only had a few uploads at that time, but we all know what happened from there. It blew up. And so that's, once I heard the Apostles, it was all game over because they was answering all the questions that I had. Point blank, period.
Same question, Elder Yashawamba. Who was the first person you heard teach the word? How did it affect you?
The first person I heard was the Apostle Tahar and the Bishop Manathazak. And I remember I was like, man, he loud, Bishop Manathazak, but it affected me. It was just powerful. I remember trying to go to everybody who I counted as somebody who was wise and smart. I had a cousin who kind of took me in when I was younger. I brought it to him, kind of like, man, look, check this out. Because I thought he was the end all be all of, what was considered smart or wise. And he said some of it is true, but he rejected it. I brought it to one of my homies from work who kind of put me on something, and he wasn't hearing it. But first person I heard was Apostle Tahar and Bishop Manathazak going into the Illuminati, actually, and it was like, it affected me like in a major way. The woman I was dealing with, I tried to put her on it. She didn't want to hear it either,
Sound familiar? Yeah, same question. I'm on Gabar. Yeah, who was the first person you heard teach the word, and how did it affect you?
You can hear me? I'm not muted, right?
Nope, you good.
Okay. Yeah, first person was my cousin, who's not in the truth no more. He was probably came around the same time with y'all brothers, y'all two elder brothers, Yashawamba and Ariella. He was part of the camp, fell off over the years, but that's the first person I heard the word from. Israel. He was already in the camp. Went to his crib one day. I don't know if you're gonna get to this question, but I'm gonna just skip it. But I went to his crib one day and he just showed me it all. So it was a whole new world for me that one day. And that same week, I think it was a Saturday, I went to his house. He had just came from camp. I didn't know nothing about that. But then I think the next week after, he gave me the YouTube. No, the same day he gave me the YouTube page, which at the time I think was called Harm of God One. I still got the papers written on the damn juice box, cardboard box. But Harm of God One gave me the YouTube. Was watching the videos on my mom's smartphone at the time, early smartphones, and then that following week, went out to camp through that brother, who's not here no more. But that's how I heard the word. Then I went to the camp.
I'm trying to give wrenches at the same time. We got some.
Yeah, I see it.
All right, I got him. All right, I got you in a second. Yahawada. All right, so right, Now we got 1 Peter 4:3, and it says, I'm gonna read both KJV and the NLT. For the time past of our life may suffice us to have wrought the will of the Gentiles, when we walked in lasciviousness, lust, excessive wine, revelings, banquetings, and abominable idolatries. NLT says, you have had enough in the past of the evil things that godless people enjoy. Their immorality and lust, their feasting and drunkenness, wild parties, and terrible worship of idols. The question is, what were you doing in life before you got in, and where were you headed?
Starting with me, right?
You know what? All started with me this time, right?
Let's go, champ.
Yeah, do something a little different this time. Let me join in. There's less people. No, I was in college, man. Well, I just flunked out of college, actually. A series of unfortunate events happened. All right, and ended up but I was searching, brothers. I was searching everywhere. Something was out here. I just didn't know what it was. I was messing with Krishna consciousness for a second, brothers. That's how much I was trying to find it. Yep. And then I stumbled upon, I was on World Star. There's a few brothers like this. Malaka Maf is one of them. We both found the truth on World Star. It was a comfy video. And then it was Apostle Dahar, You're a Slut. And yeah, man, if I didn't, where I was headed, man, it was a lot of things that probably could have got me killed straight up and down, but at least unfortunately, bad habits, brother. Bad habits that probably would have let me kill. So Dawadi Yahbashim Yashar for that. Ariella.
Kind. At the time, I was in dental school, man. I was in my second year of dental school, for like the end of the first year, going to second year of dental school. I was a very disgruntled black dental student, just because leading up into that time, I was real big into activism. I was real big into community and so-called black consciousness, and wanting to wake our people up. So I went into professional school with that kind of that chip on my shoulder. And at that time, I had got questioned real hard by my mentor at the time of, did I believe in Jesus? That's how they stated it. But like, do you believe in it? No, like, do you really, on some real shit, do you really believe in, like, do you believe in that? And then it pushed me so hard to actually read the scriptures, because it basically would challenge me to say, oh, you believe in something you ain't even read about. So during that time, I was really studying the scriptures. I was searching for the truth. And then just like I said, that's what led up to that point. But even before that, I was just going through life, achieving of what I thought was success, or what I thought was something, a life of not coming from the hood or whatever. But at the same time, I was always in the search of something. I just felt unfulfilled until I saw this. And then I immediately was like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. So I came into the truth with that understanding. Like, I finally found it, and
thanks.
Before that, I was just a Negro in America, bro, trying to make it, trying to be a dentist and take that wherever it was gonna take me. I didn't like America at the time, but I wasn't gonna be broke while I was here. That was my mindset. So.
Come on, man. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Luke 1, Salaki, yeah. Same question, Zaquan. In 1 Peter 4:3, it's basically mapping out what we're not supposed to do, right? It said you had enough of evil things in the past, of evil things that godless people enjoy. The question is, what were you doing in life before you got in, and where were you headed?
Well, I was just leaving out of the college world, you know what I'm saying? Like, we did the show a couple of like a month ago, dealing with the whole fraternity thing. Leaving out of that, even before I woke up to the truth, I left from that whole little fraternity thing. This guy named G. Craig Lewis, who we ended up cutting, he came up against the Israelites, but he actually got me on the path of getting away from that and idol worship and the Illuminati kind of as well. And also I was writing and acting, you know what I'm saying? I used to write plays. I used to write stand-up comedy routines. I used to do stand-up comedy. I didn't want to be on the screen per se, but I knew my writing. I knew that's where my that's where I was winning. I had a nice little MySpace page. That's when MySpace was on. Music as well, making beats and on the instrumental scene. And I had a few connects, but there was a point where my writings became more serious. I could tell the Lord was preparing me to come into the truth. It was still funny, but it became more thought provoking. People started to ask, what's going on. I would just ramble and write my thoughts out. It was still funny, but I started to change. And then, like I said, I saw the Apostles, and we all saw that famous Comfy video that was like, man, these Israelites got the truth.
Yeah. Well,
that was just like, wow, like he's cutting this guy up. But before then, before I woke up, I would say just acting, writing, making people laugh, and chasing women. You know what I'm saying? Leaving out of that college life and working. I had 1 year by myself. I was the original camp house, the original everything for the camp. So,
yep.
Yeah, that's that video, by the way. Anybody that didn't see it, Crossing the Burning Sands, Zaquan go into that.
Yep.
I'm on Gabar. Let me unmute you. You just got that background noise. That's all. 1 Peter 4:3, right? It's so question is, what were you doing in life before you got in, and where were you headed?
Yeah. Right before I came in, I literally just graduated high school. Dawadi Halba Shemel Shah, you put the spirit in me to stick it out through that. But I finished all of that, got the diploma, and then the truth came. But prior to that, without saying too much, my life took a turn. Could have been for the worst, but the Lord set it up that way to put me in a humble position to just humble down and actually be on a more conscious tip, which I was looking for answers, but in the wrong places. What is it? 5%ers, listen to Malcolm X tapes and all this other weird shit, just trying to find answers or whatever. But right after high school, the Lord let me hit. Prior to that, my life taking a turn of events. I thought I would have been an artist, going to them art gallery. I still like art. I still could do things or whatever, but that was the kind of tip I was on, just art, the whole underground hip hop art and just exposés and making money selling stuff and all that, whatever. Then that got squashed, and like I said, life took a turn. Then was looking for answers, and I got the answers after high school. The Wadi Halba Shemel Shah, came across, the Apostles, and that was that.
All right. Hey, Luke 12:34 says, "For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." What were your priorities in life at that time? We kind of touched on it a little bit, but if you could, sum it up, what would the priority in life be? For me, it was finding the truth, though. Right before the camp, it was finding the truth, but also money. Ariala.
I was definitely very ambitious, man. So whatever I was a part of, I was gonna grow it, And at that time, before the truth, when you go into something like dental school, you're not thinking about anything else. It's that regiment, very, very regiment. It completely consumes all your day. So the only thing I thought about outside of that, really, to be honest, I was having fun or whatever, living college life. But I really, really knew that there was something wrong in the world. I felt it in my bones. Mm. So it wasn't sitting right with me. So I knew I was going to be a part of something. Mm. I just, I knew there was something that I was supposed to be doing.
Word.
I was supposed to help it. I'm supposed to help it grow. So that energy was always very heavy in me, And so that's where I was at, really, man. I was just kind of doing my dental school thing because, that I'm a very goal-oriented person. So I set it as a goal in like 10th grade. Mm. And so it was just executing the game plan that me and my twin brother had set up. We were locked and loaded, man. Like at that time, like I just wanted to achieve within that arena and change my circumstances. But you know, really what was deep inside of me was like, man, there's something I'm supposed to be doing. This ain't, you know.
That's
So
all
I'm kind of, yeah. And it's kind of crazy when people meet me because it's like, man, but you achieved being a dentist, but you can see that this person is like, it's tainted. Yeah.
As an effectual calling.
Mm-hmm.
Same question, Elias Wamba. Luke 12:34. Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. So, what were your priorities in life at that time?
Man, at that time, I was just getting serious as a man. I remember that. I was tired. I was just like, damn, how much women can you get? I was just trying to, find out, if there is a God, why? I remember asking that a lot. I remember I wrote this big, long writing, asking the Lord, why would he give me a hairline and then take it away? You know what I'm saying? I just was questioning the Lord a lot around that time.
Yeah.
It was like a long writing. I was hurt about the hairline thing. I was just like, why would you do that? But at that time, I remember questioning why a lot, like just looking for closure. And like, why is the world so messed up? Why do black people, got to go through this? Why? It was just a lot of whys. And, I spent the majority of my life running from leadership. I was the guy that people wanted to always be around or always lead something, but I would be dipped off in the back. I never really wanted to lead anything, running from leadership as well. But, that's pretty much it,
Same question for Gabar. You on mute.
Yeah. Where your treasure there, where your heart be also. Repeat it again, Bo.
Yeah. Luke 12:34. For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. So what were the priorities you had in life? Yeah.
Well, around that time, I guess I could say one similar to what the elder Yashua said. One was but I'll phrase it like this: trying to find myself, because my pops had gotten, when I was still in high school, probably like 16. He had gotten locked up, then got deported. Esau got him fucked up, but we grew up in a family unit. So Esau tried to break that down, which he kind of did. So all the weight of my family fell on me. I'm talking about all my siblings, and then I was always mature because I was with my pops all my life. Even with my moms and all of that weight, I felt like that weight fell on me, and I had to step up, which I realized I didn't have to do that when I came into this truth. The scriptures, what Peter said about the things he forsook in order to follow Yahweh. So once I learned that, prior to having to have that weight on my shoulder, it relieved a lot of things on me, bro. It relieved a whole lot of stress. I just say, you know what, priorities is true, bro. And whatever family I create on my own, that's that. But other than family in the world, yeah, that was kind of like my priority, bro. You met them, brother. You know how that go. You seen the structure. You know what I'm saying?
You was at the top of that chain, brother. I contest. Who was teaching in your city at the time? El Ariala.
Well, at that time, it was just Elder Yashawamba and the first head of our camp, Al-Mashaba Allah, that had been teaching for a short period, going back and forth between Dallas and Austin. And very shortly after that, there was a decree that went out. Well, not a decree. I think it was through the spirit of Apostle Har. He was out preaching, and it just jumped on him. And, you brothers remember this video where he just basically was like, you've been getting this knowledge. You've been on YouTube for this long, man. What the hell you doing, man? Get out there and preach. And the response was the kind of like the core group that was studying abroad was just like, all right, you right?
We're going to do it too.
He right. And so Elder Yashawamba and Element Al-Mashaba Allah, they went out, and then I had went and typed in on YouTube, is there anybody in Dallas? And Elder Yashawamba very shortly after that hit me up. This is when YouTube went hard back in those times.
Yeah,
too.
YouTube was
You could hit each other up. We could have bulletin boards with breakdowns on
That was one of the questions. I might as well ask that question, matter of fact, since y'all had it. Yeah, because how did you get in contact with brothers? That was basically how the question go.
Yeah.
Because it was what did you get? Phone numbers?
Well, you just hit that person up, and then on YouTube, you could ask those questions and then have side conversations at the time, channel to channel, or something like that. And then end up emailing each other's number, quick call, and we just set up a meeting at some random diner, I think. And me and Elder Yashawamba, we sat for hours. Me, Elder Yashawamba, and Sayanala, my twin, we sat for hours just going through scriptures. Even there's a question that I had that he knew a little bit of the breakdown, but ended up calling Amashaba Allah to finish the breakdown off. And that just led to us all studying together and going out. And that's GMS Dallas, man.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of the start of that.
Did you want to add to that, Yashawamba?
Yeah, so basically it was nobody teaching, man, in Dallas before I went out. I don't remember. I mean, everything that I learned, all right, that I know about the Bible till date, started from 2007 till now. Like, I didn't have no other teaching before that. I wasn't into the scriptures. I was never deep, so wasn't nobody teaching. And how we all met was, like he said, YouTube was way different. You can even inbox. I think the Lord took away the inbox because he knew like it would be too many women hitting us up. You know what I'm saying? Because, man, I was winning.
Yeah, it was straight up email status back then on YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, you could inbox on the YouTube. So we would all, you could hit up somebody then you would have the message board. And the way I met Amashaba Allah was, anybody in Texas and Dallas, and he hit me up, and boom, short thereafter, I went to Austin, and we went out and talked, and then eventually he made he came up here and we started GMS Dallas,
Amor Gabar, who was teaching in New York City at the time we came in.
Just the apostles and the bishops, Elder Gad. The apostles, the Great Millstone, which they wasn't even called elders or apostles back then. It was Elder Tahar, Elder. It was just all elders. It was just calling them all elders. But then, the apostles, of course, and then the elder bishops of Connecticut right now, and then of course Elder Gad, and that was it.
You have some other names out there.
That's what it was, bro. The bishops now were back there holding signs, holding posts, and then we came along.
I know you wasn't expecting this, but there was Priest Zabak was out there.
Oh! I thought my bad. I thought you meant like, all right.
Yeah, I'm talking about everybody.
I got you. You talking about a broader spectrum? Well, yeah. Zabak Comfy, Bonloya was out there.
Hard Rock. What's some names? 14th Street.
Hard Rock Truth. 14th Street. Yeah, 14th Street Israelite. Yeah. But you see, I wasn't watching none of them, bro. You know what I'm saying? Once I came in, my mind was set on the apostles, and that was that, bro. Later on, that's when I started like maybe checking out other pages, other camps or whatever. But I made sure, I kept my eyes single. I know myself, I didn't want to get all diverted and shit. So I just, these are the guys. That's it. The
spirit. Yeah. And the brothers answered the next question too, which was, we didn't have anyone's number, so how'd you interact? Yeah, it was basically YouTube. YouTube had all the type of inboxes, as the brothers mentioned, and everything. What breakdown got you hyped? When was the moment you realized this was for you? Let's start with Ariala.
Man, what breakdown got me hyped? I think what got me hyped was a lot of everything, bro. Like, that's a very tough question. I remember one video where Elder Bishop Manatazah is preaching. I think it's like America's destruction is gonna come or something like that, and like Elder Yashawamba said, this is booming voice, but I think that video stood out amongst videos at that time. Just the spirit was just on him, man, and he was just going in on prophecies, mindset, and it's just always electrified my spirit. And I think that's one video that stands out to me. But really, all of it, I came in this truth. I was in dental school, so I was extremely, didactic. Like that would be the term. Lecture hall, listening to someone, talk about something, teach on, micro whatever, take notes on it, and then prepare myself for an exam. So that's how I was consuming the videos. I was listening, taking notes, and then we would all compare notes on YouTube. So I was already in a top level study mode. So once I started really receiving information, I was like, man, I cannot find anything wrong. Because I'm going through it. Like I'm barely looking up things. You know what I mean? I'm not making my opinion this way or that way. Let's go through this information. So that I was very much taking it in like that. And it's just the conclusion is this is right. You know, this is extremely right. Like people need to know about this, you know.
That's one of the next questions too. Elias Shawamba, what breakdown got you hype, and what moment did you realize it was for you?
The multiple wives, man. Nah, I'm just playing. I would say, of course, the slave ships. You know, the slave ships was very like, whoa, wow, that's in the Bible. Wait a minute. You know, in the Messiah being the seed of David directly. You know what I'm saying? That was, you know, and to this day, that's something I always touch up on. You know what I'm saying? The fact that Yahweh Shai is literally, you know, the son of the Most High, came down in flesh through the loins and lineage of David. You know, that aspect of it not being a virgin birth and, you know, immaculate conception and all of that was very interesting to me too. Learning that, you know.
Good ball.
Yeah. You said it's a two-part question. You said then what would make you realize it was for you? Well, it was that day. That day, when I went to my cousin's crib, and then he told me I was an Israelite. Went upstairs, brought down his notes, brought out all the scriptures, Deuteronomy 28, a lot of the curses. That's when I knew, you know, of course, this is it. This is the truth. But one scripture, one precept I could think of off the top that really had me like on some oh shit. Because remember, I was trying to find myself prior to high school, so I was just into the like Black conscious, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King. But then I remember one time on 34th, the apostles was going into the scriptures and they was talking about false prophets. And then they brought out Jeremiah 23 and 25, and I'm gonna read it. It says, I've heard what the prophet said, that prophesied lies in my name, saying, I have dreamed. And around that time, I had just got done messing with them black people, you know, like Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. So when he brought up Martin Luther King's name, he's like, you see, Martin Luther King's a false prophet. I was like, oh shit, because he's known for that speech. I have a dream speech. So I was mind blown, bro. I mean, you brand new in the truth, and you hear this coming out of the Bible. It was mind blowing. I'm like, yo, you know what I'm saying? So I knew off the rip, yo, what else is in this book, bro?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? So yeah, that was one of the things I could mention on my menu.
Yeah, for me, yeah, I didn't even think about my answer, but yeah, breakdown that got me hyped. It had to be the statue, Nebuchadnezzar's dream. You know, I was all in love with that when I first heard the breakdown of that, and it was also Apostle Ryan Lobb and Elder Sakaram did a video on a breakdown of what was that, Romans 11, with the branch, you know, the offshoots, or how does it go? Being grafted in. They did that breakdown, and that just exploded. Yeah, wild. That just opened my mind all the way. I mean, but you know, they just kept coming. You know, but it was definitely a moment when I finally realized this was it. I came all the way from Cali. It was in the Cali. You know, I tried to shout out to the elder out there in Cali, the head. There was no Cali camp, and so I had family in New York, so I came all the way to New York. They started up a few months after, and my disposition was like, man, they're gonna have to prove me something, man. I went to college. I went to college. Y'all gonna have to prove to me, man. I stood out there. You know, brothers know the history. I stood out there. Apostle Ryle I was teaching, and I'm damn near almost passed out. I was there for the whole camp, and there was a woman standing next to me, and she was good. And I looked to my left, she's straight. But I'm over here like them demons are just flying off of me and leaving me for stranded. And I almost fell. And I just was praying to the Lord, like, please don't let me fall out here. They're gonna think I'm a demon. Don't let me fall out here. Don't let me pass out. That's exactly what was about to happen. So I ended up holding on to the mailbox. You know, if I let go, man, I would have passed right out. I would have fell out. That's how, you know, that's how severe it was. You know, to hear the word director. I mean, he locked eyes with me, and he just teaching to me. Nobody else existed. He just kept, you know. And when somebody teaching you like that, bro, in the scriptures, man, I was just getting cut left and right, and that was all that pride just leaving me, man.
Oh man,
I felt sick. Yeah. That's true story, bro. Yeah, who did you connect with first? You ain't gotta get that. You know, brothers basically broke that down already. Sirach 32:8 says, "Let thy speech be short, comprehending much in few words. Be as one that knoweth and yet holdeth his tongue." So think back for a second. In few words, how'd you summarize the first 5 years in this truth?
The first 5 years was, I would say, hands-on training to get us ready to actually grow. And it was a lot of one-on-ones with the apostles and the elders. They groomed us and prepared us to be out there abroad. You know, we considered New York Jerusalem. So it was always an honor to get around y'all brothers and get around the apostles and the elders. And we had the fortunate opportunity of those first 5 years. Really, they opened their line to us. And at that time, Element was a part of the camp. And he was real big on us communicating. And so that led to very fast growth, I would say. But just bumping our heads, man. Learning what the hell we were doing. We were out of order. We didn't know what the hell we were doing. But that structure and mindset, you know, we got from the apostles and the elders over time. You know, we were in a lot of councils, and that's how it was, man. We were growing, we were immature, and figuring things out.
That's right.
Yep. Elder Yashawamba.
Yep. A lot of councils, a lot of getting rebuked, a lot of learning, you know, how to deal with brothers, because I was one used to, you know, being by myself. You know what I'm saying? I didn't never really want to be around people until I wanted to be around people. So it was a lot of training, self-discipline, rebuking demons, you know, getting myself used to a new setting, getting prepared to lead, you know, getting out of my emotions, you know, dealing with these different personalities and different spirits. It was crazy, you know, but it was necessary and needed for, you know, me to be at the point where I am. So I thank Yahweh Bashim Yahushua, even for the ex-leader of the camp. You know, it was hell, but at the same time, it was a lot that I needed to go through with that situation. So it is what it is. But it was the first 5 years were, because he was the head of the camp for the first 7. So that first 5 for me personally was brutal, man. It was crazy. I mean, I was losing my mind. That, you know, some brothers caught it, some brothers didn't. You know, it was hell for me personally. You know, I was thinking about moving to Houston. It was crazy. It was all kind of stuff. Rapping, doing albums. Didn't know how I was. It was crazy. It was a lot. You know what I'm saying? But I thank Yahweh Bashim Yahushua for every second of it, even the torment. You know, all of that. But it was a lot. It was structure. It was wild. It was chaotic. You know, but it was needed at the same time for us to be able to be in a position that we are in now. You know.
Yeah. Because if I can add just real quick, we would go up top and visit the apostles and elders and basically have a review and go over like, hey, this is what's going down, boom, boom, boom. But that did lead to like, okay, they're seeing things in the spirit that need to be worked on. And as we matured, and you know, it was just, you know,
yeah, you getting cursed out. We ain't used to that. You know, I wasn't used to that. I didn't, you know, come up in that culture. I mean, I ran, you know, you had certain, but getting cursed out, being told about yourself, being rebuked, being held accountable, you know, thinking you on point and you're not, all of that, you know, it was beautiful, you know.
Yep. Learned a lot.
First 5 years, I'm on Gabar. Let me unmute you. How would you summarize that first 5?
One word, bro. I'll say tumultuous, man. Very tumultuous, you know, in a sense of just spiritual battle, spiritual attacks. Because I look at it like this: 18 years of being groomed to society, groomed to being a nigga, can't just disappear in 5 years. I mean, you guys, I mean, it can never until we change our bodies, of course. But now coming in to this truth from year 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, whatever, It's just tumultuous, you know, battling within yourself, you know, blocking certain thoughts, how you feel, you know, dealing with family members, even dealing with the church, dealing with the body, dealing with the brothers. That's a whole nother ball game. You know what I'm saying? That's something we had to learn. We didn't grow up. You was in the audience right next to me, bro. The same that we came in that week, you know. But I remember us. I got to know y'all brothers out there in the audience, and I was a little bond. So you know, you, Rapash, Jamal, Malak, you know, y'all brothers, you know, super tight. We're cool with, because like we were still out there in the desert, you know, with each other. You know what I'm saying? And we came in a nice fertile land with each other, so to speak. You know. But other than that, bro, the first 5 years was just destroying that old man. That's me personally, just destroying that old man. And I'm not saying I'm done. It ain't never done. But that's all I could really pick up within them years, bro. Because and not knowing and having a full understanding on how to deal with it completely like we do now, it was a lot harder the first 5 years. You know what I'm saying? So it's still a learning experience. And I always say that when I speak and do lessons or whatever, we ain't never finished learning, bro. And really growing to be so, you know, perfection, which we ain't gonna get it now, but you know what? We learning, bro. We learning to watch how about Shemel Shah for that. You know what I mean?
Man, I love them answers, man, because I can relate right there. I would say the first 5 years was the hardest years of my life. You know, some of the hardest years of my life, straight up. You know, I love every moment of it looking back. But when I think about that today and think about them first 5 years, it was hell. You know, for personally, I came in from LA, and so I had to learn the truth in New York City at the same time. And for the record, New York City is the hardest place to live on earth. I promise. It's the hardest place to live on. LA is the craziest place I ever lived.
Yeah.
Dangerous, like, but New York is definitely the hardest, just mentally, like. And so, I just came to the city at the same time as learning the truth. Man, just barely fighting, trying to get into scriptures, you know, and stay afloat is a full-time job. But hey, how about Shemel Shah shows us a lot in this truth. Looking back on it, man, how we done passed up. How were you able to get through these things, man? Great, miraculous. We already seen miracles.
Yep.
You know,
studying. A lot of studying too around that time.
Yeah.
So much study.
Notes.
Yeah. Notes. Yeah. I think the first few years, bro, I didn't understand the old English. It just wasn't hitting with me. It just wasn't hitting, bro. I don't care what I did. That old English just wasn't. Brothers be thou canst. I'm just it was flying all over my head. The only books that made sense was Proverbs and Psalms. You know, that's within the first 5 years. Since we in the summarizing, think again. How would you summarize years 5 to 10?
5 to 10 is getting into your gift. You're going now. You've spent the first 5 years really studying and putting off the old man and coming into a new way of being. And for us in GMS Dallas, the Spirit had it be to where we're kind of like we were the kind of liaison camp, so to speak, between the camps abroad in a lot of ways, just because we was there first. You know what I'm saying? And so the camps that grew so much, I have more of an administrative gift. So I was spending time thinking about, okay, doctrine wise, we solid. We got this type of growth. How can I help? I'm thinking about these things within years 5 to 10 because I know that's a part of my gift is administration. So it's just helping things operate properly. Like it talks about in 1 Corinthians, the 12th chapter. There's all these different gifts that we have, but it's all for one thing. And so I'm definitely more of a background guy in the sense that, by the time we got up to year 9, 10, Elder Yashawamba was transitioning in as the head of the camp. And we all see his gift, So my job was just to keep him in that mode, in that type of way, and then administrate amongst the other camps and just help everybody come on the level. It was kind of like transmitting what we was learning from the apostles and elders to the other camp heads, just a way of being. What are we coming into? Those type of mindsets, just because it grew so much. The apostles and elders, they can't do all that. We need to keep them preaching, not doing all this other stuff. And so just working with the other bishop elders and continuing to just build leadership within the churches. That was my mindset, you know.
Years 5 to 10. Eliasha Woman.
5 to 10. So I became the head of the camp. So I became the head of the camp in like what, my 7th year, 8th year. So 5 to 10, it was dealing with a lot of letdown because particular men who you thought was solid, you know, they end up falling out. It was a lot of that, you know, being hated, you know, people coming up against us. Like I wasn't used to that. I was always used to being liked. So that took some getting used to, but you know, you get used to it over the time. Being prepared to lead and gaining confidence in the gift that I have through the Holy Spirit. Those years that took off because, you know, I came in as more so a precept guy. I wasn't really, I didn't never look at myself as a leader or a teacher. I just looked at myself as somebody who's going to help the leader. I'm going to bring out the best precepts. Like I would read all day and just, I didn't really understand the Sabbath until a little later on in the truth. So I was keeping that Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. Even while I was in GMS, I'm just going to be honest, in the beginning, I didn't really understand, you know, so every Friday sundown to Saturday, I was just taking notes. And then around 5 to 10 is where I started to gain confidence in what I, you know, in teaching and actually teaching this word and being a leader and accepting the fact that the Heavenly Father set me up to do this and gaining confidence. Because I, you know, you come out of this world, you know, that low self-esteem demon and, you know, not me, I'm not the guy, nobody gonna listen to me, you know, all of those doubts Satan instills in, you know, Judah's mind, you know what I'm saying? That comes with this system of Edomite supremacy was kind of, you know, but I knew I had a gift through the Spirit. We all have a gift according to the measure of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. That's Ephesians, the 4th chapter. So having faith in my measure and my gift, 5 to 10, I started to take off in my calling as an actual preacher and teacher of the word.
That's your part. Priest Zaquan, I'm on Gabar, years 5 to 10.
Am I muted?
You good?
All right. Well, I could concur with what both elders just said as far as touching on the gifts. You know, as I mentioned, the first 5 to 10 years, I guess, you know, putting off the old man, among many other things, but battling, you know, battling your own mind, your own self, etc. The rhythm, you get your rhythm. You eventually find your rhythm. You find your what's the word? Your motion. You know how you flowing and just kick. I just took it off, and still trying to keep that flow going, and then some, and even better. You know what I mean? 5 to 10 years. I mean, so much brother. So much happened in 5 to 10 years, bro. And my memory ain't even the best. So much shit happened that sometimes the Lord got put it back in remembrance. You like, damn, that happened. But you know, I'm here now. You know, through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Yahshai the water. May the Lord just continue to keep on increasing me as well as you brothers, and you know, the flock out there, bro. You know, but that 5 to 10 years, man, I could say just more growth, and really understanding and more so toward the latter, understanding what we're a part of, like how the apostles always say, you know, men got to understand what they're a part of. None of us could really say that we knew we was part of when we first came in. But like the 5 to 10 years, you get it. You start getting it, you know, till now, you know, you continue to understand and get it even more and more when the Lord put you through certain things. And then we hear the stories the apostles told, like we was talking off camera. And then it makes sense because that seed was always planted in our mind. It was always planted for now, for times like these when we would have to deal with the flock, the masses, people coming on your comment board asking you questions to break this down. You know, Dallas dealing with the church and the regions that they got to deal with. All that, you know, the apostles planted the seed. Matter of fact, I got a precept too. This is 1 Timothy 4:14. It says, neglect not the gift that is in thee. And one thing we all must find out is, what's your gift? What are you good at? What are you good at? I mean, what are you good at? You know, brothers know their gift. You know, brothers know their gift. And you know what? Us brothers, we came in, obviously the platform, the title is The Great Awakening, but it ain't just come overnight either. You know, some brothers are great at exhortation, giving them faith boosting confidence. Some brothers digging deep into the research, you know, holding down the camp organization, putting things together, you know, just so much different gifts, bro. So I could say that's one of the main things within them years, finding that and then holding on to it and locking onto it. So I'll read it again. Neglect not the gift that is in thee, which was given thee by prophecy, with the laying on the hands of the presbytery, which is who? The elders, the apostles. You know what I'm saying? And how we got this word, how we got this. We all got a gift, man. You know, just find it and lock onto that thing, lock onto that bad boy, you know, and let your talents grow. You know?
God. Y'all don't mind if I throw somebody else up in here, right?
Absolutely, positively not, bro. Bring him on in.
Let's go.
Hey, shalom,
shalom, bro. Y'all wish me
Hey, how about some crocodiles, brother thumb? Shalom.
There he is. There he is.
I had to.
What in the world? Hey, brother, shalom. How about Zaquan? And first and foremost, brother, give me your name, tribe, camp, and how many years you've been in the truth, Babakashah.
Khan, I'm a Tazawam from the GMS Atlanta camp, from the tribe of Reuben, Rabban in the Hebrew. Been in the truth. I woke up the year 2009, came in the camp 2011, Ratazai Yaradan, and yeah, you know, through the spirit and grace of Yahweh Bashim Awashah, I'm still enduring.
And you know, we went through pretty much everything before camp and leading up to camp. You know, where were you heading in your life? You can answer that. 1 Peter 4:3 we went into how that's about you know, in times past, you know, Gentiles, that type of scripture. Matter of fact, I'm gonna read it for you real quick. 1 Peter 4:3. It says, for the time past of our life may suffice us to have wrought the will of the Gentiles. When we walked in lasciviousness, lust, excess of wine, revelings, banquetings, and abominable idolatries. So the question I have for brothers was, what were you doing in life before you got in, and where were you headed?
Yeah, I mean, this answer I'm not proud of, but you know, I was a street guy. You know, just pretty much trying to find my way. You know, messing around with a crowd that I shouldn't have been messing around with, you know, out here in Atlanta or whatnot. Which in my spirit, I wasn't a street guy anyway. I was more of an athlete, but just got caught up. And, you know, one of the individuals that I was running with actually told me about the truth. But yeah, you know, I had a seed, you know, when my seed was in my ribs oven, you know, at the time that I woke up. And yeah, you know, I was just, you know, Jake was just lost out there messing around in the streets.
What was your priorities at that time?
At that time, man, it was getting some money, you know, just setting myself up for my child. You know, my seed was in the oven. He was going to be born a couple of months after I had woke up to the truth. So just trying to get my life in order, you know, it was completely out of order. I mean, I always had a level of consciousness towards like truth, but I just never knew. So I sent a prayer up to, you know, Jesus Christ or whatever, and asked him to give me some understanding, you know, because I didn't like the way that I was going, because I wasn't a street guy, you know, I wasn't no gangster, no hood guy. I'm just in this life, and I just wanted to figure out like what is all this about. And shortly after that prayer, you know, I woke up. I woke up to the truth.
And what breakdown got you the most hype? What breakdown or what moment did you realize the truth was for you?
It was the Chariots. I heard the elder bishop Tazaiwan breaking down the chariots on the highways and byways, and you know, I had always knew about UFOs, and you know, you hear about it, but when I heard the breakdown and how they were the angels and that the Lord is going to come back within one of those chariots, it just like it blew me away. You know what I'm saying? And you had this which I was, you know, I was being simple, but I ain't know, you know, I'm just waking up. But it was this guy on YouTube by the name of Prophet Yahweh. Yeah. You know, and it was a video. One of the guys I was running with showed me a video of Prophet Yahweh summoning a chariot like a UFO, which was a fake video. You know, and then I was like, oh,
wow, this is it. So, you know, that led me on a journey to find the apostles and elders. And, you know, when I found the apostles and elders, I knew immediately that this was the truth.
And Sirach 32:8 say, "Let thy speech be short, comprehending much in few words. Be as one that knoweth, and yet holdeth his tongue." So, thinking back for a second, in a few words, how would you summarize the first 5 years in the truth?
Man, ooh, the first 5 years in the truth it literally felt like I was a spiritual baby. You know, Apostle Gabar had told me years ago. This was like 2012 or 2013. And he said, yeah, brother, you know, the Lord really started dealing with you after 5 years. But those first 5 years, it was a lot of carnal afflictions that was just, I was being tried. You know, a lot of things that was happening to me were just fleshly things, fleshly afflictions. And, you know, it was a tough, you know, adaptation, you know, to afflictions. You know, I was going through the ringer, you know, still am, but, you know, now it's more spiritual. You know, after that 5th year, things started to turn more spiritual. And you started to see more things spiritually. You started to be able to express yourself more. Cause I couldn't, you know, I was, my verbiage was horrible. You know, I couldn't speak like that. You know, I was always saying, and, you know, those first few years, but then after a while, you know, you grow into something that you never knew existed within you. But those first 5 years was development stages, you know, just understanding how the brotherhood works, understanding how to take correction, understanding how to move within order, learning. You know, I used to study like 10 hours a day, 8 hours a day, just cramming a whole bunch of information in. And you know, it was a journey that really sculpted and molded me to be where I am today, and I fully embrace it. You know, even scientists say that the first 5 years of a child's life are the most impressionable years of their life, and those first 5 years really kind of helped mold me into the man that I am today through the Spirit.
God, give me 1 second. Yep. Hey, Thawada. Yep. So we're gonna continue on with the rest of them. Just wanted to, you know, let the brother catch up to where we at, and Thawada again for pulling up. You know, Vocab said GMS is the worst of the worst. You know, he said, so the question is, what made you join GMS instead of other camps? Like, did you watch other camps? We'll start with Ariella.
Yeah, I just knew that I knew the spirit is going. I know everybody's gonna have this in their hands, but it's just the spirit is just telling you. And then at that time, you got to remember, when I did see other camps, it was comfy. It was just too much for me, too theatrical. You know, even the way they talked was ridiculous. But you know, they had some good breakdowns. But when the apostles and bishops were preaching, there was just a raw truth that you could sense. You could tell that it was no gimmicks. It was just, we're doing this because we believe. And you could feel it, and it was raw. And so I immediately took to that. And they were just going through the breakdowns, like going through the Hebrew, going through the Greek, getting very technical. Which was that I definitely called out to me, as all the brothers say. I literally have buckets of notes in my storage of those first years of just studying Great Millstone and going through the breakdowns. You know, so yeah, it wasn't a hard transition. I heard a few videos. I even read a couple of Ben Ami books, but there was nothing like what the apostles was doing as far as prophecy and putting everything together. No one's doing that. And then, you know, no one did that at that time. Still haven't. Only people that's going through the scriptures. That's why Vocab says what he says, but he still said, well, they were the most studied group that I've ever came into. Yeah.
Sincere too, yeah.
It's the school of the prophets, I know. You know?
Yeah. Same question for Elias One, but you know what? The GMS is pretty much, you know, notorious camp, man. What made you turn to GMS?
man, they didn't hold back. I remember when I first came in, I first saw the apostles, but then you had Elder Rakah before he was GOCC. He used to teach. He was teaching the right thing. He was out there going in. Bishop Nathaniel, before it was fully IUIC, he was out there with the turtleneck preaching. He was bringing out the name, kinda, you know. But as I started to look around, it was just kind of like everybody was kind of like, now Bon Lawyer was on fire. You know what I'm saying? But the Spirit just had me to go with the apostles because of the diligence, because they never left us out to dry, man. It was always some food there to eat. I mean, it was like they made it their point, and nobody else was doing that. Like, remember, Bishop Nathaniel was on YouTube as well, but he would have the video up, but then he was charging money for the extra breakdown. And I remember sending a message to Nate, like, man, I ain't got no money. He sent me a DVD. But I was just noticing, like, these men right here are faithful. Like, they, every time I look up, because when you can only load 10-minute videos to YouTube, so it'll be part 38, like constant food. He was constantly eating. And I was like, these are my spiritual fathers. These are the men the Lord, you know, led me to through the Spirit. This is where I'm gonna go with through the Holy Spirit, you know.
Yep, Zaquan, I'm on Gabar. Go ahead, same question. Oh, look, I got you. You did it?
Yeah, we got yeah, of course, first and foremost, the Spirit, of course. That's the obvious answer. And yeah, I mean, once you see the apostles teach, bro, you just know that this is it. You just know that this is it, man. I mean, there's no way to really explain it. You just know that, yeah, this is it. So when I went out there that Saturday with the brother, but that's not the truth anymore. My cousin, I just knew this was it, bro. You know, the men, you could tell that they was passionate, diligent. It was love, you know what I mean? The way they taught, so much information and raw. I ain't never heard nothing like that before. You know what I'm saying? You always hear about the Bible, people teaching the Bible, preaching, but you never hear it being broke down like the way the apostles and bishops broke it down. You know, maybe from Apostle Hall and the other apostles. It was just perfect, bro. It was just I felt like I was home, so that was it. And besides the other part of the question, those are the first group. That's the first group I came across, so that was a no-brainer. There was no reason to look around.
Same question for Zaquan Tazawam. You know, being that vocab, you know, is already noted now that we the worst of the worst. But back then, you know, GMS had a certain rep too. What made you choose, you know, GMS over the rest of the camps?
Yeah, just agreeing with the Zaquan Amawanga Bar. It was ultimately the Spirit, because, you know, back then when on YouTube, you know, you had to filter through a lot. You had to filter through a lot of camps, you know. So I was watching the apostles. I would see ISUPK, not knowing the history of the old school and the split, and, you know, the true, you know, essence of how things got to where it was. What really got me for the apostles, it was the name. You know, it was the name, because when I first woke up, remember, I was watching Prophet Yahweh, and, you know, I was just watching so many Israelites, you know, but I would always get fed through GMS because that was where all the material was at, you know. Like I mean, Prophet Yahweh, them niggas had like the same videos 2 weeks ago. It was literally a fountain of living water. So when I heard that name, you know, outside of Yahweh, when I first heard Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, I immediately remember saying, that's the right name. You know, it was just in my spirit. I was like, that's it. And that's what really, really made me follow the apostles and elders, was the name of the Lord.
Hey, you know what? I got a clip now that I'm gonna play. You know, this is a clip by Jordan Peterson. Anybody familiar with him? All right, cool. Let me just throw it up there. Matter of fact, instead of talking about it, hold on. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I couldn't download this one, Gabar, so I just had to kind of stream it. Let me know if y'all can hear this, because it might just be on some mute stuff. This is from a podcast called Jacko Podcast. You talking to Jordan Peterson? I'm about to play.
Ability for anything.
That's part of this nihilism, is that because first of all, you learn that truth is relative, and that there's no real moral order. And, that alleviates you of responsibility. And that's why that's such an attractive message to people. But the problem is that it kills you. It kills your soul, so to speak, because, well, when we can talk about this technically. So, there are systems, neurological systems that underlie your experience of negative emotion, and there are neurological systems that underlie your experience of positive emotion, and they're separate systems. They obviously interact, but they're separate systems. So, but the positive emotion system, well, there's two of them, but one of them sort of kicks in when you get something that you want. So, you're hungry and you eat, and that feels good. And so that's kind of the simple one. But there's a more sophisticated one that I think is even more active in people. And it's the one that tells you that you're moving forward towards something worthwhile. And that's actually the one that gives people that sense of meaningful engagement in their life on a moment-to-moment basis. So, and it's also something that doesn't have to go away. Like if you're hungry and you eat, well, that's good, but it's over, and then you're on to the next thing, right? It's not exactly sustaining, it's just necessary. That's called consummatory reward, by the way. This other reward system is incentive reward. And the incentive reward system works on dopamine, this neurochemical dopamine, which is also the neurochemical tracks that opiates and cocaine and amphetamines, the drugs that people really like to abuse, alcohol often for some people, activate. And so you might say if you don't have enough meaning in your life, then you're more prone to addiction. And that's definitely the case, even with rats. If you take a rat and you put him in a cage by himself and he has nothing to do, and then you give him access to cocaine, he'll get addicted to the point where he won't do anything but take cocaine. But if you throw the rat back in with a bunch of other rats and he gets to do rat things, then it's very hard to get him addicted to cocaine. And so the purposeless rat is prone to addiction. Well, it's the same with human beings. Now, here's a corollary to that, which is really cool. So the magnitude of the reward you experience as you're moving towards a goal is proportionate to the importance of the goal. So that means the more important the goal you pick, the more possibility there is for the kind of reward, let's say, it's really a state of being that is life affirming. And it is directly life affirming in that, like if you're in a football game and it's an important football game and maybe you break a finger, and normally that's a problem. It hurts and you're going to stop doing whatever you're doing. But if you're right in the middle of the game, then you'll be so amped up on this reward system that it's analgesic. It stops the pain. It also suppresses anxiety.
And that was the point of that right there. I don't know if y'all was able to really catch that. Let me pause it on the other side. Yeah, he's basically talking about reward system, and the more motivated you are, the more sound the motivating factor is of what you're involved with, the better you are at warding off things that have you catch you up back in the world. I use that whole clip to basically bring out this precept here, and I'm gonna read it in the NLT. This is Matthew 13:18. It says, "Now listen to the explanation of the parable about the farmer planting seeds. The seed that fell on the footpath represents those who hear the message about the kingdom and don't understand it. The evil one comes and snatches away the seed that was planted in their hearts. The seed on the rocky soil represents those who hear the message, and immediately receive it with joy. But since they don't have deep roots, they don't last long. They fall away as soon as they have problems or are persecuted for believing God's word. The seed that fell among the thorns, those represent those who hear Yahweh's word. But all too quickly, the message is crowded out by the worries of this life and the law of wealth, so no fruit is produced. The seed that fell on good soil represents those who truly hear and understand Yahweh's word and produce a harvest of 30, 60, or even 100 times as much as have been planted. And the question here is, how many guys are not around from that time since you came in? And What were the signs, if there was any?
Elder Yashua, if you want to answer this with me, you can. Because we were groomed together and planted kind of in that same time. So, man, bro, I could talk to you all day about this question. Very good question. I would say this. Once you get past that first 5-year period, usually that's where I notice people fall out around that time, the 5 to 7 year period. And because you're going to go through those things. You're going to be persecuted. You're going to go through trials and tribulations. Basically, you're acclimating your life and making the truth your priority and figuring out yourself while you're doing it. So you're going through this process of transformation into something. And if you don't have that belief that you're a part of something bigger than you and that you're blessed to even be a part of it, then those type of things can trip you up if you don't have vision. Like the scripture said, man without vision shall perish. And so I think that's getting ironed out in those first 5 to 7 years within yourself and stuff like that. And then so you'll see that happen. Like you'll have an officer and, they're throwing little things out there to you that's letting you know that they're forgetting what the priority is. And so I'm not gonna control your decision making. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna talk to you and I'm gonna work with you and see what you can choose. You can go down the path you want to go. This is a volunteer army through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua, so to speak. You'll know someone who's willing. You'll know somebody who's willing, and they're just gonna show it in what they say. They're gonna show it in what they do. And they show where they put their resources. So I look at things. I can see things in that type of way. What was the other part of the question? Right,
and it's really 3 parts. I'll repeat them for every brother. How many guys are not around from that time you came in? What?
I remember when Apostle Rakah, he came and visited. And then he counseled with me and the other elders. He's like, this camp is going to be dwindled down to 8 people. Watch. It might be 8 of y'all left. And he said it in the spirit. And I remember after that time, a little time after that, we had, how many officers did we have fall off in 1 year? Elder Yashua.
It was a lot.
I'm talking about guys that were around for like 8 years.
Probably about 8 people, 9.
Yeah. Leave, right? So we had the head of our camp leave. Oh, he just could not handle rebuke. Really was what his problem was. But anyway, then we had a whole slew of officers because what happened was we had some young killers come up. They were putting pressure on those officers because when you get to a certain size camp, you start delegating tasks of leadership and teaching class and creating routines and standards. You delegate it down, just as you were taught. You pass the mindset because it's really a mindset. When you understand, it's all mindset and it all fits towards what we're getting ready to do in the kingdom. But overall, you saw that pressure come to the camp. So you see these guys, when they had to step up in responsibility as the church was growing, they was like, nah, I'd rather just, not doing it. And so it's like, all right, well, bye, And so shortly after that, then the camp exploded with growth because you got rid of the lazy guys.
Yep.
The spirit.
Right. And again, I'll ask a question for Yashawamba. Elder Yashawamba Salaki. Everybody on the panel is elders, so forgive me. How many guys are not around from that time? That's number 1. What were the signs? Number 2, how do you fight against it? Number 3.
Yeah, it's a lot that aren't around. And the signs were suffering when they have to suffer wrongfully, when a man has to suffer wrongfully, when a man's way isn't, forwarded, and he has to deal with, sort of like why, or you have to be patient. You have to, like the scriptures talks about how wisdom tries you. And there's certain men that when wisdom tried them, they failed the test. They got offended. The scripture talks about how there's a shame that bringeth glory, but there's a shame that bringeth destruction if you don't take heed. You know, there's a lot of opportunity where men, like the Elder Ariala was going into, were put in positions to level up. All right, but they just threw hissy fits. So the signs is they start to disconnect. They start to form cliques with other men. You know, they start to go to younger brothers. This is another red flag. You go to younger, you're an older brother in a camp, you know, or a seasoned brother. You know, we're all still babes at the end of the day, but you go on a younger man who just came in, talking to them about problems that you should be dealing with leadership on, you know, poisoning these young men's mind, you know, just out of order. You start to notice, you know, the men get out of order, men get disgruntled, discombobulated, men have this complex where they feel like, well, I can lead too, I can do this too, I can do that too. And it's like, we a team. What's the goal? You know what I'm saying? Like, whether I'm the head of the camp or whether I'm fourth or fifth or the last in command, I'm gonna be the same, you know, brother. You know, you got brothers with rank demons on them, all kinds of things. But a lot of the men that ain't here who started out, man, suffering wrongfully, because that's a part of the fruits of the spirit, is you have to suffer. You have to go through what Yahweh Shai went through. Sometimes you're not going to agree with certain things your leadership, your elders do, or how they, you know, you don't agree with a judgment. You know, you still got to keep your integrity. You know what I'm saying? And that's where a lot of men fail, you know, where they feel wrong. Then they start to blame the truth. They're no longer teaching. You know, you start to blame the truth, you know, because you feel wronged, when we were warned of everything we went through by Yahweh Shai himself before we started this ministry. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I don't know if that answers the question, but you know,
no, that was necessary regardless.
Yeah. And
Go ahead, Slocky.
Did you want us to answer about how will we prevent it?
Sure. How do you fight against it?
I'll say two things, and then I'll let Elder Yashua expound. I'll say first, setting up systems within the camp, having order within the camp, having something to come into. That way you can identify who's serious and not in a certain type of way. Brothers that are showing up to class on time, brothers that are, or just at all, brothers that are consistent with making sure that they're operating within the ministry. That's a different way. I think a lot of times there might not be enough structure as far as camp, class, and communication, and making sure the 3 C's is on point. You know, because camp, class, and communication a lot of times will identify where a person's head is at. One of the 3 will fall off. You know what I'm saying? Where you say, okay, what's up? Let me out with this brother, see how you doing.
Yeah.
You know. And then the second thing is making sure the brothers remember why they're here. I think a lot of things that go underrated is just understanding the Most High brought this to be. And so when we get around the apostles and the bishops, and they're constantly telling the story of personal experiences, history, going into the old school, telling those stories. And for me, I love that. I love because it reminds me of I'm a part of something. It reminds me of the trials and tribulations that came before me. So when I'm going through something, it's just like literally, hey man, I remember the elder told me this story. They went through something that was similar. Or I remember the bishop told me something. But, you know, it's just like, hey man, it's a part of the battle. It's a part of what we're doing overall. And sometimes we can get on an island out here in these different camps and forget that we are connected to something that's bigger than us. We're connected to something that's been going and toiling for decades and even longer than that. And we're a part of that, a legacy that's being written. We're a part of a legacy that was already written. And you are literally a part of the prophecy when you sacrifice your life to come and be a part of this. And just remembering that is so big, you know, as far as just having that vision, having that, you know, that the scriptures talk about the helmet of salvation. You know, I always say protect your neck, keep that vision of salvation, keep that vision of the kingdom in your mind. And from there, you can filter out anything else. And when a person loses that vision and it's all about what the fear of the world and what they got going on in their life, then you know that their mindset is not where it needs to be for longevity. But, you know.
Man, at the water, man. That was your pie, man, for real. Zaquan, I'm on Gabar. Go ahead, brother. Give it. Let me hear what you got to say on that. How many guys are not around from that time? What were the signs, and how do you fight against it? Oh, Salaki, let me unmute. 1 second, bro. You good?
Yeah, a lot of guys ain't around no more, bro. You know, we've seen it from 08 till now. A lot of guys came and went, and a lot of it came through them being offended in some way, shape, or form. You know, whether it was a doctrine, whether it was a brother, whether it was something. But you know, there's a parable with the I think you quoted it, but the parable talks about in Mark 4:17. It says, matter of fact, or I could start it on 16. And these are they likewise, which are sown on stony ground, who when they have heard the word immediately received it with gladness, and have no root in them, and so endure for a time. Afterward, when affliction or persecution arises, for the word's sake, immediately they are offended. Now, everybody's gonna get tested, bro. We all gonna get tested, and being tested is by no means a reason to drop out, fall out, or just wave the flag. You know, what was the flag? Was the surrender flag? I don't even know what color the flag is, but red flag or white flag, I think. You know, the surrender flag. You know, that's no reason to do so. But then again, it comes with being grounded in Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah. So these are the men that when the affliction, persecution arose, for the word's sake, immediately they got offended. No, like one of the elders mentioned, the whole concept of suffering wrongfully. That's a test. That's a test. That's a common test that men seem to fail because we were taught pride and ego in this world that we can never be wrong. We was taught that we can never be wrong. So as soon as the spotlight is on you, you get that rush of adrenaline in you, and you just feel like you got to say something, to do something to defend yourself. But let the Lord defend you. So it says in verse 18, and these are they which are sown among thorns. Such heard the word, and the cares of the world, and the deceitfulness of riches, and the lust of other things enter in and choke the word, and it became unfruitful. So the cares of the world also is what would distract a man from his purpose. The main thing is the cares of this world, which Yahweh Shah warned us about it. That's why Scripture says, "Blessed is he that readeth." Now, if you read this with understanding, you would see that, okay, I see the cares and the lustfulness of this world is trying to attack me right now. What do? Go back and read what the Lord said, man. Build yourself up on what the Yahweh Shah said, man. Ask the question again, bro. I believe it's another part.
What were the signs, and how do you fight against it?
Signs is they stop participating. All right, they stop coming to camp, they stop engaging, or they will come to camp late. They will start coming to camp late. Stop engaging, making excuses as to why they can't come to camp. Why they can't link up with the brothers. They don't want to talk anymore. They don't want to. You hit them up, they don't really want to talk. Conversation is short. You could just feel the spirit leaving them. You could honestly see the spirit feeling them. And not everybody shows signs. Some people just disappear. We know one or two that just straight up just disappeared. Mm-hmm. But some do show signs, and the ones that do show the signs is like you was expecting it. But of course, being a brother, you would try to build a brother up. But how much can you do? How much can you really do? And the last question, bro.
How do you fight against it?
Praying, fast, read, study. Surround yourself with like-minded men that are up, just have that spirit. It ain't that hard, bro. Fight your own mind, fight your demons, fight your battles, bro. It is what it is, bro.
Right.
Yeah, that was it, bro.
Okay. Let me get the elder Atazama. I'll start with the first question again. How many guys were not around? How many guys not around from that time when you first came in?
Man, brother, I'd say over 20. I've seen over 20, 25 men fall out of this particular camp. Not to mention Great Millstone in general. Some guys you close to, some guys not so much. But just as much as the Lord shows you that, Jake wakes up, the Lord shows you the balance of that Jake fall out. So it's been a lot.
And might I add, just real quick, is the importance, when brothers see this, it kind of changes our character a little bit. It takes that, the scriptures talk about being sweet in our mouth and bitter in our stomachs, and it kind of stopped being it never was a joke, but if you even thought it was a joke, it's not a joke no more, and you feel like you lose a brother, you feel like you lose what's the scriptures say? He that is my mother and my father and my brother and my sister that do the will of my father. So you feel like you definitely lost a family member, and you go through that. It's like being in war, in battle, and you see men getting picked off, but you still got to pick up your sword, or you pick up your gun and keep going. You don't get no time to shed a tear for that man. He's just keep going. That builds a different type of character. Go ahead, Slocky.
No, you good, Elder. And the land back, the scriptures say we believe in the saving of the souls. We come into this thing not to take joy in watching Jake fall out, but we also understand that, hey, it's all the will of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. It really boils down to just be predestination. If the Lord called you from the foundation of the earth to be delivered in these latter times, because if not, then you're going to be outside the parameters of the elect. That's just how it goes. But you feel it. You like, damn. You know what I'm saying? Like, whether you was close to a brother, even if you wasn't that close. I mean, I don't think I ever seen a sincere brother just sit around and hoorah when a brother fall out. Like, it's just like, I mean, the scriptures even say, rejoice not in my greatest enemy when he falls. So, it's just something that is just like, we know it's a part of the truth. It's a bitter part of it, but it's a necessary part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the second question, part of that was, what were the signs? What were some of the signs you saw of that man before he fell out?
Con, I got a scripture actually, and every elder answer was spot on point. But just from my perspective, it's just basically not putting the cap on their flesh. Just giving too much to their flesh and not enough to their spirit. Because Satan got multiple avenues where he can catch you. It ain't just one specific thing that I can say. I didn't see Jake fall out of all kind of shit, man. It's like, damn, the scripture says what? Wide is the way that lead him to destruction. So there's many outlets that Satan has set up in the valley of the shadow of death to pull you. So I just say not putting the cap on that flesh. It's Galatians 5:19. Now the works of the flesh are manifest, which are these: adultery, fornication, uncleanness, lasciviousness. I've seen Jakes fall out the truth by watching these other camps and not being rooted in the doctrine. They get caught up in a faulty breakdown. The next thing you know, they dishonoring the doctrine. I've seen Jakes partying too goddamn much, sleeping with women too goddamn much, drinking too much. You know what I'm saying? Being slothful. Envying another brother that has a gift, that's polishing his gift and laboring effectively in the ministry, and another brother sit up there and be hating and lash out on the brother, fall out. It's so many ways. It says lasciviousness, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, variance, emulations, wrath, strife, seditions, heresies, envyings, murderers, drunkenness, revelings, and such like, of which I tell you before, as I have also told you in the past time, that they which do such things shall not inherit the kingdom of the Most High. So it's multiple avenues that can get you. That's why the straight gate is it's our best friend. Mm-hmm. Even though it's the toughest path, it's the best path. Because that's the only path that has light. The scripture says the word of the Lord is a light unto my feet. And the only path that got light in all this darkness is the straight path. So if you veer in any direction, Satan to be right there just waiting to get you. So it's multiple avenues, that I've seen Jake fall out.
Yep. Seem like it will all be fulfilled, and like the scriptures say, they love not their lives unto the death. Jake loves their life, and it manifests itself. It manifests itself in many ways than one. Woman, pride, offense, whatever, you know.
Yep. And if you hate your life and you love, you know, the brothers and the truth, you know, and things of that nature, you'll abhor carnality, man. You know, any form of carnality that you come across, you're gonna just get this, I can't stand it. You know, even though we in the flesh and we encapsulated in these bodies, you know, it's still a disdain, you know, for this flesh that you gotta maintain. You know, because as you age and you grow, you know, you start unlocking certain desires that you never had when you was in your early 20s. You know, you start looking at things differently, and you know, Satan presents certain things to you that you never was really into. But that's a part of the balance of wisdom. And if you don't put a cap on that flesh, you'll follow after those things.
Khan and Salaki, I'm getting ready for this computer, Satan, to break this computer down and have the feed all messed up. Let me ask y'all, brothers, what story in the scriptures resonated the most coming in? What story? Whoever got a answer first, or whoever wants to jump in there first. Any story in particular?
The sons of God. The sons of God, the story of the sons of God, and correlating it with basically them being the Gentile of their time, you know, that not talking about fallen angels, the family line of Adam, how the Bible is tracking a lineage from Adam through Seth, you know, eventually through Noah, through Shem, you know, our facts at all the way up to Abraham, you know, who had Isaac and Jacob, you know, who had the 12 tribes. Once I got that understanding, like I was able to navigate in the scriptures, you know, so I would say, you know, the sons of God break down in the understanding of the sons of God, you know, as, you know, if people listen to my videos, you'll know I talk about that a lot, you know.
Khan, Gabar, you got one? Got you, hold on.
Yeah, looking back at it, I guess I could say the story, the whole Exodus, us leaving Egypt. You know, I say that because growing up, we used to watch. I had an uncle, matter of fact, the same cousin that I got hip to the truth by, his uncle. Yeah, his uncle, which is my father's first cousin. You know, he used to stay at our crib, and he used to always watch some old movies on the cassette tapes. And one of the ones he used to always watch was the Charleston Heston movie, The Ten Commandments. So we used to watch with him a whole lot as kids growing up, and it definitely resonated with us growing up, especially me growing up. So I guess I could say the story of the Exodus, bro, and us leaving Egypt, how the Lord destroyed ancient Egypt, and us leaving the land of Egypt, Passover and all of that. So that's one story that definitely resonates a whole lot, thinking back at it.
I would say probably for me, two stories. Well, first one being the story of Acts and the apostleship, and how, you know, basically it was the beginning of a revolution after Yahushua went back up to sit at the right hand of the Heavenly Father. You get to see the backdrop of what they was doing at the height of Rome, how they was able to move, you know, how the Most High had put the Spirit on them to continue to grow, and it's really interesting to see how those things are kind of formed now. So, you know, the book of Acts is really kind of a backdrop of like, okay, this is how they really, the mindset. And I see so much of that as we grow in the camps. And, you know, of course, a lot of those councils led to what we read about in the New Testament to get the more intricate details of what was going on in each one of the churches. But that's interesting. And then just the whole story of the Maccabees, man. It's just inspiring to see how people fight the way that we fought, and get the mindset of the battle and war and the progression of time and things that was going on, and how detailed it could be, like, but to have one common goal of really just establishing the temple in a way, and, you know, and we're in that like minded soldiers of Yahweh Shem Yahushua fighting, and you know, so I love that story as well, you know.
So, like, what was the question, Elder?
Yeah, what story in the scripture got you hyped at that time? Like, just resonated with you the most coming in.
Story. Man, I tell you, when I really first understood Yahweh Shai's journey, because when you hear it in the Christian church, I didn't understand it. I didn't know what it really meant for him to be a sacrifice and for him to lay his life down. I really didn't, because I didn't know about this sacrifice in Exodus, and so when I really learned like what Yahweh Shai did and the road that he took and how he showed all that integrity, and he watched everybody just like it was just him and the Most High. When I really, really like understood it, it was like, man, I gotta rock with this, man. That's just like the ultimate form of manhood. I don't think I ever admired a story, you know what I'm saying, as much as I did when I understood what Yahweh Shai did. It choked me up to this day, like, dang. Like he watched Peter dip, and then Judas did what he did. All the disciples really, fled when the Romans came down, and he was in the garden, and he just felt like the Lord was forsaking him, and the two of the disciples went to sleep. It was just like wow, he still handled it. He still went through, and it's like to this day, it's still like, wow, man, that was like the greatest example of character and love that I don't think a story could be written any better, man. So that's what really like that's the story that got me. Yahweh Shai. It got me fucked up to this day.
Yeah, got you. True.
You want to say something, Elder?
Nah, that's true. He actually literally fulfilled the duties of the priesthood. He fulfilled the sacrifice. He fulfilled it all. He did the duty, all the way to the end. Like, he didn't look back. He did it, like, wow. Yeah.
Con brothers. I'm thinking of probably David and Samson. For some reason, I'm in love with those mighty stories, man. About overcoming crazy odds. Any situation, but it still has to deal with power and strength. It's probably the youngster in me. But that's definitely something that had my attention early on. But definitely understanding that persecution is not something that we shouldn't be unfamiliar with in this truth, man. I wanted to get into real quick for the brothers, because we got brothers here that's ATL, we got Dallas, but also we got NYC. So what was it like outside of NYC, being that y'all didn't have the apostles and elders? Because the brothers in NYC, we don't know what that's like. How would y'all explain that for the brothers in NYC, what it's like not having apostles around 24/7?
You have to remember, this is what I say. You have to remember in New York, the apostles and the bishops, they come from a very structured background. The old school of One West was very, very structured and regimented. And it was all about discipline. And there was a certain spirit and mindset that came along with it. It's kind of like I think when you first come to the truth, you're so excited about learning something that the actual part of the mindset it takes to do this needs to be established in the school of One West. From what we've learned from the apostles and the elders, it just was a foreign structure for us. You know what I'm saying? And so being in New York, you get to be around this structure a lot. But being abroad, you're learning it, and you have to be very intentional about communicating. Very intentional because having some of that mindset is really what's going to get you through, as far as just excelling and enduring. You know what I'm saying? And I'm telling you, you can take that mindset and apply it to any place and whatever you want to, and you're going to succeed. Spiritual principles are always first, and then they can leak into everything else. And I think that in New York, you have a principled way that we had to learn over time through just communication and making sure that we just got around the apostles and elders. Sometimes it's not enough to watch YouTube. You got to get around them. So we spent time making sure that we traveled, making sure that we visited, taking any opportunity to be around the apostles and bishops. We, they began to travel, and so that helped a lot, being for them coming and just being able to counsel with them and sit at their feet. See, we were definitely types to ask questions, and they were always just open. And I remember being up. Y'all brothers know in New York, you be up 4 o'clock in the morning, just talking, and you having a good old time, but you really getting game, and they just giving game the whole time, nonstop. I remember being around Apostle Hart and just seeing him put everybody to sleep, but he just talking about spiritual things. We slide in there some banter and fun, but you always learning. And so being around that as much as possible was important. So we was at a distance, but we have to fight to make sure that we got around it so we can get that structure and mindset, learn how to deal with each other, learn how, like we always talk about, we call it getting cussed out, but really it's just disciplined mindset of, how did you come to that conclusion according to what scripture, according to what mindset, like, and becoming a man and being able to be forward looking and decision making, all that just took more time, I think.
Any other outside New York City elders want to jump in there?
Yeah, I mean, like Elder Ariala said, I mean, like he said, there's a lot of people who are just looking at YouTube and starting camps, and that's a beautiful thing, but sometimes without, direct connection with, the men of the Lord on some level, you're just kind of like, okay, now what? You know what I'm saying? So it was beautiful. The ex-head of the camp, like Ariala said, he was very, very big on order and communication. And I'm not like that. I'm more of a, hey, I'm raw. Let's just go on the fly. But now that I'm, 15 years in, I understand the importance of structure, order, and things like that. So being abroad, it was very important that we communicated, and we were very intentional about getting up to New York, getting around the elders, and for years we would just be around the elders. But over these last couple of times, we was like, man, we want to chill with our brothers, man. Y'all, you know what I'm saying? Like, we want to hang out with our, you know what I'm saying? So finally, now opening it up to where now we're getting closer and stuff like that. So,
yeah.
How
many trips y'all think y'all made to NY?
Probably, man, 12, maybe 10, 12. I mean, it's crazy. My first visit to New York, it was an angel on the side of the plane, like a lightning ball following me the whole time. And I kept looking away and looking again, looking away and looking again. But it was a ball of light the whole time following the plane. And I was getting ready to ask somebody, like, do you see this? But I was like, nah, that's just for the, for the Lord, for me to see. But we was in constant communication, you know what I'm saying? And that was important to learn structure, order, learn how to deal with one another, get challenged, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you can get into an atmosphere to where nobody's being challenged and everybody's scared to say something. The apostles challenged us, look, why you didn't say nothing? You know what I'm saying? You complaining about it? Did you say something? So being abroad, it was kind of like an atmosphere of just kind of ragtag can be a come, but you got to be intentional about communicating and all of that. So
yeah, hey, that's one of the if I may add, that's one of the beautiful things about this truth, man. It's kind of familiar, resembles how Paul had to deal with the different type of camps, and Peter had to deal with the different churches out there, man. Different styles, and when you're dealing with something like GMS or the Returning to Israel, you're dealing with men from all over, and you got to know how to deal with somebody outside of your realm of your sphere of in your bubble of whatever city, town, block, part of the country you're from. You're dealing with, as the elders is explaining, dealing with the New York City elders. It's a certain amount of communication level that's required you know, and that's pretty much a good tip for anybody coming up outside of New York City. You're just gonna have to, because New York is a super communicating place, man. Like, I don't know another way to word it. As a matter of fact, I'm on Gabar. Speak on that for a second. Like, what's it like in NYC always having apostles around, as opposed to, you know, give the brothers who ain't in NYC the game of what we be going through, what we went through.
Shit, let me see. Well, being that they always there, you know, it's almost like you pick up fast. You know, you pick up fast. You pick up being around somebody a lot. You pick up on their spirit. You know what I mean? Their mannerisms, the way they think, the way they do things. You know, I mean, yeah, bro. I see a lot of not just New York, but a lot of the camps throughout the four corners of the earth, especially like the main camps. You got Texas, Dallas, Cali, you know, and just different major, you know, bigger camps.
Yeah,
a lot of brothers, yeah, Chicago and all that. A lot of these big camps that was here from the time period you know we referring to, 07, 08, 09, 010 and all that, got a little bit of that sprinkled amongst the camps, man, if you get what I'm saying. Like a little, like the attributes of our heads, you know, through the spirit. We all got that, bro. But from us being here, bro, you know, I mean, damn, how do I phrase it, bro? Like,
I know it's a rough one.
Like us over New York, it's not like the liberty and shit. We ain't really had it. You know what I'm saying? Just to go there, go here, whatever. You know, it was just different, bro. It was just different. I'm saying that y'all brothers don't got it, but y'all got it. You know, y'all got it out of them states because y'all gotta have it. You get what I'm saying? Like Ariel, you was talking about that before the camera went off, and it was set up to be that way through the spirit. You know, because y'all brothers ain't there. Y'all wasn't physically there. You know, that's a whole nother establishment being set up. So it had to be that way. You know, but you know, it's all beautiful. The Lord knows exactly where He placed us, why He placed us, when He placed us. So we just, you know, that's part of finding out your purpose in this truth. You know what I'm saying? That's part of finding out your purpose in this truth, bro. So, you know, hey, brother, it's a blessing no matter where we are. You know, whether we in damn near across the earth or whether we right up under the apostles, it's both a blessing because something could come out of both situations. Something got to come out of both, bro. You know? So, I mean, I guess I could say it like that, bro. You know, if that makes sense.
I know what you're saying, brother. You know, it's kind of hard to word in so many ways, but y'all brothers outside of New York City, y'all really get the same amount of attention that brothers inside New York City get. You know, I know it sounds like it shouldn't be or something like that, but y'all really do. Y'all get the same type of dedication. However they do it through the spirit of Yahweh Shemi outside, y'all get, because we can see it in y'all. We can see it in y'all. You know, the communication must be completely there. You know, for y'all brothers, the camps be tight, for the order to be so tight. And you know, the brothers is now mentioning how the apostles and elders will work with you and come down there with y'all. You know, for us, it was just kind of like, you know, sometimes you could take a hands-off approach. You know, and the Apostle Carr would kind of get on us about that. You know, having your hands in your pockets. You know, when the apostles there, you know, you ain't have to speak. You know, I mean, for so many years, that was a situation. I mean, the reason why I didn't speak for 2 years is because of apostles. I held posts for, you know, the beginning of those 2 years. You know, we only started speaking after those 2 years, and that was far and few in between and whatnot. We always ended with the apostle speaking. You know, it's only now where certain brothers kind of step in. I mean, well, they have their own camp and everything like that. That's the way it is now. So more brothers are getting shined. We are broken off the camps. We you know, through the spirit, the apostles were like, yo, keep the camps like 5 men and less. Yeah. So the super camps of like, you know, 15 brothers. It used to be like that, but it ain't like that no more. It'd be like a 5-man camp.
That's just a sign of growth.
Salakia. Yeah, that's why hey, we will pull up early at camp, bro. We'd be there early, way before camp started, just so that at least, you know, we get out speaking in. You know what I'm saying? Because we will open up, we'll get the word, then open up, and then the bishops will come, You know, once the bishops come, the bishops is dead. You know what I'm saying? Any apostles will come. You know, once the apostles are there, they did. So it was like, you know, you have to be there early to get your speaking in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know, hey, that's beautiful though, bro, because that's just the growth. But then eventually the apostles went off, you know, obviously they went off to the side so that brothers can speak more. Like even Apostle R said that back then. You know, go off to the side so that brothers could speak more. But that's when we was on 34th Street. But now it's like brothers, you know, are on a level to just, split up. And the best way to do it is to split up the camps as small as possible, bro. The scriptures say we're 2 or 3 together in my name, I'm in the midst. You know, 2 readers and 2 readers, 1 speaker. You know, 4 is good, 4 is okay, but you know, any more than that, just look at the apostle, for example. And I know everybody's structure is different. I'm not saying however the structure go, but to get the most out of it, man, and to engage, just split it up. You know, break it down into smaller groups and let that the smaller the groups, the more YouTube pages you got to spread the word. You know what I mean? The more corners you can take to spread the word, the more people going to see, the more people going to engage. So, you know, brother, yeah, that's just how it, you know, it went down in New York. You know what I'm saying? But we here, bro. You know?
Yeah, you can. Hey, man, don't be surprised. You know how often a man could just be, you know, standing there in a 15-man camp. He just came to this camp and he just staring up. I remember sometimes I just be staring up. My mind will be, you know, it start drifting off.
Idle time.
Through the spirit. Yeah, that idle time. You just, you know, you're not gonna speak. You know, you're not. They got readers already. You know, as time goes on, the apostles gonna show up, so you can kind of just drift off. But you know, hey, I'll say that, you know, just admitting, but you know, through the spirit, now that the camps is more, they become more engaging when the numbers is lower. Become more engaging, and you're forced to really know what you're talking about and know what you're dealing with, and so forth and so on.
That's it.
Forced to listen.
What you say, Elder?
I think Apostle Hart, he really does understand about self-reliance and keeping men active and how important that is. You know, he's always been that way. And when we came into the time of growth in Great Millstone, you know, it's just, you know, the Spirit had the apostles continue to break it up and do it like that. So they understand we all alphas and we all need to get out there. So they know that. So you can see how that came along over time. So it's just interesting how y'all broke that down, you know.
Hey, it was the spirit, man. I'm telling you, man. But it was a thrill. What's the biggest change from that time until now? The truth, change in the truth, and a change in your own personal growth. Let's start with you, Ariella.
Over time, just being a part of the councils and kind of being over the part of just watching Great Millstone grow, kind of in the underbelly or in the background, I say, you know, that's where I work most with brothers now. And I would say changing me would probably just be understanding my spirit and understanding how it plays a part of the bigger picture, and just really just excelling in that. You know what I'm saying? Just finding a way to excel in that, and just help this thing just go and hasten the day of Yahushua. You know. The biggest change overall is the growth of everything. You know, it's very interesting to watch how we all interact with different churches. It has to develop. It has to, I don't know if the brother got knocked off or if it's still recording, but anyway, just watching everything kind of develop as far as the structure goes, as things has gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And so for me, that's extremely interesting, and I love working with bros, and I love, you know, that part of it, you know, is really kind of helping brothers and talking and counseling and doing those type of things. So watching that grow is interesting.
God, if I may, I'm just gonna answer the question too, real quick and get in there. Biggest change from that time until now, from 2008 until now, biggest change in the truth is the way the word come out.
Yep.
We ain't really speak on that too much, but the word came out a lot different back then, you know, and that was a spirit that we all here now to be able to kind of bear witness to what it was and how it changed. You know, the word was kind of it's still raw, but it was just rough and rugged and raw back then. You know, yeah, it was rough, and you felt it. You know, you felt the aura of the word coming in. It was more like I ain't gonna say a cussing out session, but it was a chopping session. You're gonna get cut out there. You know, you're not gonna come up there smiling. You're gonna, you know, the people, anybody could, you know, the apostles was never interested in cheerleading, and so you would get guys that just get cussed out right in the audience, and you know, but through the Spirit, the word was coming out heavy, precept upon precept, exactly how it's expected to be, and it still is. That's how the style now is edification, 1000%. It's all edification. You know, it's definitely building up. It's building up man's character. It's building up your own personal your fight, letting you understand your fight, helping you with personal dealings. You know, brothers doing response to commentary in sections, and you know, we actually being servants to whomever comes up to that needs, you know, certain services. My own personal growth, you know, confidence, 1000%, man. I ain't had no confidence. I came up in this truth. I was all type of, you know, weak, the unsurety, not really knowing if the Lord is really dealing with me or not. A lot of doubt, you know. Instead, you know, through the Spirit, Yahweh Shemiel shall replace all of that. Just faith and courage, a willingness to, you know. Yeah, I'm talking about myself, but you know what I'm saying. That's basically what, you know. Even in my own personal walk, I feel like the Lord has shown me. Bring it up. We went into earlier. There's a certain talent brothers got. You know, there's a richness in who you are as far as your talents go, that you gotta have the confidence level to be able to bring that talent out. You know, and that's all about knowing that Yahweh Shemiel Shah is walking with you. The scripture say, cast your cares upon him. Know who your help come from. The Lord got us. You know, it's really nothing to fear except for Yahweh Shemiel Shah out here. Not Esau or anything. Eli Yashawamba. The question was, what's the biggest change from that time until now in the truth and in your own personal life, personally?
Yeah, personally, I know how to deal with different spirits better, because people who are highly energetic and, you know, maybe loud, and, you know, you got brothers who are wild, different spirits, you know, that personality type, you know, in the world, and even now I still battle with it sometimes. You know, it's kind of like, oh boy, that's a, you know, because learning that the laid back approach isn't always the way. My way, you know, and my way of thinking, and how it applies to the particular situation we're in. Learning how to operate and maneuver in the Holy Spirit, above, you know, operating outside of your emotions and dealing with different spirits. I will say I've grown in that aspect. The truth, like you said, man, when we first came in, it was rough, raw, and rugged, 24/7. You know what I'm saying? Now it's more of you know, it's more of an edification, because, man, I mean, even now we got sisters on the comment board. What? No sisters messing with you.
Yeah, TMS had a rep, man. I mean, we still do, but is that a problem?
You know, but now, you know what I'm saying? It's you know, the Spirit has opened it up to where you know, rivers of living water. It was always rivers of living water, but it's just more polished now, and it's more edification. It's rivers like of living water, literally. Like, that's how I look at how this truth comes out, you know. And the program the apostles and elders have set up for us to enter into without, you know, being on the book in Rome is absolutely genius to me, man. It's beautiful how we're in this thing, but nobody know who the hell we are. You know what I'm saying? It's just kind of like, you know, a lot of these camps, a lot of them are on the books as Israelites within the system of Edomite supremacy. So I just admire the leadership we have. A lot of people look at it as if it's low level and weak, and it's supposed to look that way, but it's very high level in spiritual warfare, you know, so to speak. So that. So just growing individually, just knowing when to shut up, you know, just getting out of my emotions, man. You know, the emotions that come up here is just like not acting on them, rebuking negative thoughts, not, you know, taking shit past the thoughts. Some things you can just rebuke right when you think it, just rebuke it and get over it and move forward, you know. So
instead of internalizing it.
Yeah.
I'm a Gabar, and then Allah Tazawan. Gabar. It's lucky. Hold on, you muted.
Ask the question again, please.
Question is yeah, what's the biggest change from that time, 2008, 9, 10, until now in the truth and personally?
Shit, patience. Patience, bro. I mean, yeah, I say patience because, you know, one thing this truth do teach you is patience, and it's taught me a lot of patience dealing with the outside world as well as dealing amongst this truth. Just patience, bro. I mean, I really have not much to say on that, but just overall patience and learning myself and just knowing when to strike, you know what I'm saying? And not always being so hasty like I used to be, and not being so rash like I used to be, but definitely patience and learning that in its truth by default transition into the outside world on how to deal with people, you know, deal with your family, raising your household, not being aligned in your own house, and so many different other things, bro. But yeah, patience definitely, I'll say grew. All right, grew, which changes growth, and growth is change, but patience definitely, bro. You know,
and changing the truth, like how the truth changed itself, the way it come out, or the structure.
Right. Well, I was thinking about it when I was upstairs. But yeah, the way it is now, bro. Yeah. I heard a brother say about a lot more edification, and the way. Hey, matter of fact, I was holding on to Daniel 12 as I was listening to what was being said. This is Daniel chapter 12 and verse. Let's see, verse 4. It says, "But thou, Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased." And that's on all levels, bro. Knowledge shall be increased on all levels. If knowledge being increased on the left hand side, on Esau's side, then it's damn sure being increased on the right hand side, 100%. You know, we know that the technology and the way Esau is moving towards his NWO agenda, well, so is the Lord. You know, so we preparing for the real world order. So the Lord is influxing this a great influx of knowledge is taking place, bro, and you can see it. You know, because I remember back then you had the camps, you had the camp videos, the apostles, the 20-part, 30-part videos, and then I believe it was the class sessions that they had. A lot of those videos is on breaking strongholds if you can still find them. You know, and then I really can't remember much more. But then brothers started doing their lessons, getting together, doing their camp, then their lessons, and then it just started branching out more and more and more. You know, brothers went from doing a lesson, a couple lessons in a week, a lesson in a week, 2 lessons, 3. Now brothers doing like 3 to 4 in a day, if that, man. You know, and not just, you know, one man, 2 man, 3 man, but the whole camp, the whole body collectively, bro. So the truth has definitely grown, and that just furthermore proves that the Lord is getting ready to shut this thing down. You know, the word is going out. Scripture said, "When His word shall be preached throughout the earth, then shall the end come." So it definitely grew, and I heard somebody said about, you know, I guess polished. You know, the way the word was polished, because we got so many different walks of life coming in now, bro. You know, so many different walks of life, so many, and we gotta remember. I mean, at one point we came off. We probably looked simple as all hell when we first came up to the camp, bro. Asking simple ass questions, looking simple, dressing simple, or whatever. We gonna be dealing with those same type of spirits, man. Same type of people. So that's why I say also too, I learned a lot of patience myself on how to not just jump down somebody's throat, bro. It ain't just all right. Examine what this person. Scripture say, try the spirit, right? Try the spirit. You know, you got to try the spirit. See what kind of person. But it takes patience to try the spirit. You can't just, you know, jump at a mother effer, man. Sometimes you just gotta sit back and wait and know when to strike. I definitely learned that. I'm still learning it, and you know, through the spirit, bro. I mean, that's all I can say on that.
Wise as a serpent.
Wise as a serpent, brother. Harmless as a dove.
Ella from the ATL.
Could you ask the question one more time?
Yeah. What was the biggest change in the truth and from then when you came in till now? And like one part is what was the biggest change in the truth, and the other one is what's your biggest change?
Okay. I'll just start with the scripture and just go from there. Ecclesiastes 24:27. He maketh the doctrine of knowledge appear as the light, as Gion in the time of vintage. The first man knew not her, the first man knew her not perfectly, no more shall the last find her out. And I'm gonna jump down. It says, I also came out of a brook from a river, and as a conduit into a garden. I said, I will water my best garden, and will water abundantly my garden bed. And we know that the Lord's best garden is Israel. You know, the Israelites. Because I say the change that I see all of us as a whole is just really understanding Yahweh Shai. You know, I mean, we heard the name. You know, I know I heard the name when I first woke up, and I knew that he was the son of the Most High. But I ain't really understand Yahweh Shai, you know, and you know, like just really understanding, you know, he's all over the scriptures. And when you hear about him being the volume of the book, you read the scripture, but you don't really truly see how Yahweh Shai fits in everything. But now it's like Yahweh Shai is being preached. You know, the understanding of Yahweh Shai is out there. You know what I'm saying? When I first woke up, you know, you hear the name, and of course you hear things. He's the son of the Most High, but you really don't fully grasp the understanding of his purpose like we do now. And I think that's one area that the truth has grown tremendously. Is just like brothers really understand Yahweh Shai now. You know, we understand our purpose in the Lord and what we have to suffer, and you know, even the parallels of the Lord when he was King Solomon and the Ark of the Covenant. You know, that was something that we probably didn't fully understand back when we first woke up. You know, about the Ark of the Covenant with the two cherubims and the tablets on the inside, and how that relates to Yahweh Shai now. These are things that's just like Yahweh Shai is being magnified. You know, his journey is really being pushed in the earth like never before. You know, there was a great falling away. You know, everybody thought he was a white man, and you know, he was called Jesus. But now it's like you can't deny Yahweh Shai. You know, you can't deny his legacy. You can't deny his servants. You can't deny his understanding. Because when you hear, you know, for instance, you'll hear Elder Wamba go into an in-depth focus on Yahweh Shai. You'll hear Elder Ariala or the apostles make certain relations to Yahweh Shai throughout the scriptures, and it's like you can't get over, you know, and that's one thing that I could say has literally grown, was just the understanding of Yahweh Shai, man. You know, Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai is it? Because I remember, man, my go-to was just cuss out white people. You know, I mean, just keeping it real. You know, just I'm about to go in on these Edomites because I can physically see them. I have physical historical documents that I can use to cuss them out, but I couldn't really go into Yahweh Shai like that, you know. But now through the grace and of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, I can, and I see that multiple brothers can do that, and I think that that's one thing that I've seen grown over the course of the time, and I say within myself, it's just trusting that the Lord have begun a good work in me. You know, because at first, you know, you doubt, there's a lot of self-doubt, like what you were saying with Power Mouth about confidence. There'd be a lot of self-doubt, man, because, you know, in the world, you subconsciously under attack. You know, you thinking you ain't got gifts, you know, these gifts is inside of you and they dormant. You don't know how to bring these gifts out. You ain't never really been in a public environment to speak to people and to guide people, direct people, or hell, even yourself, you know. So I would say that just believing that Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai done got me this far, and he's still holding me and directing me, taking accountability, you know, is another form of growth within myself. You know, not being offended when I'm wrong, you know, not being afraid to be told about myself, you know, when I need to be told about myself. I just look at it like it's okay. You know what I'm saying? Brothers care, and I want to hear it. I truly want to hear it and learn from it. Apologize. You know what I'm saying? Just like truly just embracing the culture of what it means to be a Hebrew Israelite. You know what I'm saying? And not just cussing out white people or goddamn going in on the nigga woman because that shit was fun. You know what I'm saying? You know, you be at camp, man, I'm about to cuss these devils out. And, you know, we still go in, but now how I talk about Edomites is way more precise. You know, it's way more, you know, direct and, you know, we can pull historical proofs of this thing rather than just saying F the white man and kiss my boots. So, you know, that's one thing I could say has definitely, you know, increased within me is just first and foremost understanding Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai more and, you know, just accountability and learning that the Lord begun a good work within me and hoping that he continues to use me for this work.
Real quick, just a time check. Anybody got time for maybe 2 more? Okay, all right, cool. Right, as you just mentioned, Tazawon, you mentioned Esau a few times, and that was one of the questions I wrote down too. I was watching my Expert Opinion, you know, the Math Harvard podcast. I watch a lot of podcasts. And he has this woman, Deb Abney. She the woman that found like Gucci Mane and Nicki Minaj and all that. And she was describing how Gucci Mane was scared of white people. Like that was his thing. He was just scared of them. And when I came down south, like maybe like 5 years ago, to visit my father out here, one of the dudes told me, because I had a beard, he said, you just don't want to shave. You got that to scare white people. I never forgot that too. How fearful of Esau were you before the truth as opposed to now, if at all, any, like, what was your thing with Esau? Like, yeah, that goes for everybody. I mean, I'll start. Like, I grew up in Connecticut, so I'm always around Esau anyway. Like, I knew how they was Israelite foreigners. I was around a whole lot of Israelite foreigners growing up, and they was like Italians and Irish or whatnot. And so I never really looked at Esau no different, you know. But I see it's a thing amongst some Jakes. Like they really got a nervous and a fear for Esau. Before the truth, was y'all like scary around Edomites? Were y'all like that?
No, not me at all, man. You know, just because I went to like a private school, I went to dental school, so I studied Esau. You know, I studied Esau a lot. You know, I would definitely look. I would be like, "Hey, how are we gonna take this dude down?" Like, I don't know. Until I came to the truth, like, "Oh, okay, this is how we can do it." Because I knew he needed to get out of rulership. The world was in. You know, it was like when you study all industries and you start doing reading documentaries and really looking at industry and enterprise. You know, me, I was around a lot of people that invested, so I was always, you know, in a mindset of studying how Esau ruled. And seeing like just how, and once you see how he ruled, you realize how corrupt it is and how wicked it is and how, you know, and you start going back. So, you know, especially, you know, people that, you know, read maybe Malcolm X or maybe some of the other stuff, you start to have that different idea. And so when I came into the truth, I actually saw the answers of the problems of the earth and how it was going to be solved. Spiritually. And so and that was one of the next clues. I was like, yeah, I knew there was no way he was gonna get away with all of this. You know, like finally a solution that actually, dang, this is in the scriptures. This is Babylon the Great. Look at how Esau moved. Look at, you know what I'm saying? I've always felt that way before the truth, but I was always around Edomites. And so you just learn their ways, how they be lying. You just learn how they move, man. And that's also a clue in the scriptures, man. Like it's just like it's a cultural thing. They don't even realize it. And so
yeah, it's like one of the most underrated experiences of the truth, man. Yeah. You know, if I may, being able to actually know what the hell is going to happen to this guy. Like, so now, you know, if you was never scared of them, or even if you was, and you learn how to deal with them amongst the truth, amongst the body, amongst the brethren, amongst the elders, watching the apostles, you learn how to deal with them. And it ain't all like the elder Atazuan was going into, all about cussing their ass out. Instead, you deal with them with tact, right? Rightly dividing the words of truth. And, you know, you learn about his history more than he is. And I mean, it's empowering to be able to bring the scriptures out and the words out in Esau's face and just see him there in shock, like, because you know, growing up, that's the guy, that's Superman, that's right. These are the people. This is their flag. We're waving their flag around. And, you know, I thought that was an exciting part of this truth, man. Yeah. Anybody want to add to that?
Yeah. For me with Esau, I mean, I really was never around Esau until junior college, played football with him. Then I went to a black college. So whenever I noticed before the truth, and even sometimes now when I deal with Esau, there's an internal struggle. There's an internal, like, I'm thinking too much about what I'm saying. I'm thinking too much. I'm like, why is he trying to, you know, make me laugh so much? Or is he deceiving me? It was always, especially when it's an Edomite couple and you're around them, there's always this weird thing that I always know, like, what's up with them? The man tries to act more like a hunk. The woman is looking at you and flirting. It's just a weird vibe. Edomites were always weird to me. I never really meshed with Esau like that. Like, even before I went to college, I thought only white men were alphabets. I didn't think that was a Jake thing. So I always try to stay away from Esau because it always gave me an uneasy feel. It wasn't like I hate you, but it was always like I'm trying too hard, or is something not right, you know? So who helped me to deal with, you know, Edomites better was this elder right here, Ariella. You know, because if it was a spot, because you in this world, you're gonna have to deal with E on some level at some time. So, you know, learning how to deal with them and, you know, learning the ins and outs of Edom, it's kind of like, these are some pieces of shit, but it's a game. Like, and some brothers like that challenge. You know, some brothers like to play that mind game with Esau. Me, man, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to do that shit, man. It's too much for me. You know what I'm saying?
They definitely still weird, man.
They're weird. It's a weird vibe. You know,
it's weird, man. It's really weird. And the more you even know them, hey, Ellie, Ariella, I know you know, man. The more you really know them, the more you just can naturally have that. Then it gets weird, and it'll be normal for a good 20 seconds. You have a good 30, 20 to a minute long conversation with E, and then
it'll start getting awkward.
Yeah.
Yep. It's hilarious to me. I think it's funny.
I'd be like, hell no. I be trying to look for a way out, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, you got to deal with that shit sometimes. It's just like, you know.
Yeah, if you like to self-entertain yourself, go have a drink with an Edomite, or just have a conversation. If you like self-amusement, go have go to Home Depot and just get into a good conversation with an Edomite, bro. You'll feel like somebody's watching you or something. Like, is this a setup? Like, you getting punked.
Yeah, it's like, very common.
Watch how awkward it gets.
Hey, Uncle Ball, man, what you got to say on that, man? Hold on.
That was funny as all hell, brother, because it's true. It's true, bro. But me personally, bro, I know the question is what? If we grew up with fear of Esau or some shit?
What was your thing about Esau? Because a lot of Jake was in fear of Esau. It's the fear built into the fabric of America. But I noticed one thing I'm gonna say before you say, Benjamin got a different. They don't have that same type of fear.
That's what I'm about to tell you right now, though.
Yeah.
Because for one, I ain't grew up around Edomites. I grew up in Brooklyn and Queens, coming up, and back then it was no crackers around. It wasn't no Edomites around. Gentrification wasn't big at all. It wasn't happening. It more so started happening, I guess I could say, early 2000s. That's when you kind of started seeing. That's when I started seeing crackers. Early 2000s. I'm gonna say Edomites, you know. But other than that, I kind of grew up hating Esau because the most encounters we ever had with Esau would have been cops. And every Jake grew up hating cops for the most part for obvious reasons. You know, even though Jake be doing some bullshit, anytime cops come around, you hate them. You know, even though they was white or whatever, you probably had a nigga cop in between. But personally too, and like you was about to mention Benjamin, a lot of Benjamin music that I grew up listening to, they really was cursing out white people, bro. I mean, Edomites. I mean, they ain't say Edomites or nothing, but they was cursing out the white man. They was talking about slavery, injustice, and this and that and that and this, and the Rastas would be sitting around smoking, talking about it. You know, I was young listening to them and hearing it and all that shit. So, you know, it was a different attitude growing up, Benjamin, and having to deal with fucking Esau. I never fuck Esau, bro. I mean, that's just how I grew up. You know, never feared him. Only encounters I ever had with the Edomite really had to have been really when I came into the truth, like really learning how to deal with them. Like Tazawam said, like the elder bro said, like besides cursing them out, because that's all I knew how to do was curse Esau out. But now you can have more of a dialect and prove it wrong in whatever he believes. But off the rip, it was just, this was justification of being able to do what I was wanting to do my whole life. You know, cursing out the so-called white man. You know what I mean? So the Bible, the scriptures, the truth gave liberty to do so. But then, of course, over time, you become more seasoned. And it ain't all about pointing at every white man that walked down the street and like, come here, cracker, you know? Whatever. That's played out, bro. We gonna have them in slavery, all right? I mean, it is what it is. You know? But yeah,
a lot of guys ain't around no more because it ain't about cussing out Esau no more.
Yeah.
I go as far as to say that, man. You know,
I mean, I'm not saying cursing out Esau is played out. Don't get me, don't get it.
It ain't all about that no more.
Yeah.
Oh, we still got to. Yeah, we still.
Oh
yeah,
I'm just saying, in case somebody, a kid's brother, you know, a young, you know, gullible brother, like, oh, you don't got to curse. You know.
No, you're right. Must be said. No, Esau, you still going into slavery, you bastard.
Right.
Indeed.
All right, you deserve it. Hey, as a matter of fact, as Ella, before you say something, Salaki, Ella, Tazawam, not to cut you off, but Ella Ariala, you said that shit, lost my Go ahead, it's live. Go ahead, Ella Tazawam, and come back,
bro. Salaki. No, but I was just laying back, and you know, the scripture says, "Shake the hand that we may go into the gates."
Right.
So we still got to go in on Esau, but you know, as you get age, man, you ain't trying to be cussing nobody out, blue in the face and shit, man. You just tell them about themselves, and you know, Esau, keep it moving. Then Esau too, man, is more effective like that. You know, how Shah was like, man, thou has said it. You know, but I start out with a story, man. I just share a story. You know, I grew up in strict poverty, man, and I was poor. You know, being from this part of the South. You know what I'm saying? You know, in Atlanta, you know, because I live in between Atlanta and Alabama. You know, in Atlanta, I didn't really live around Edomites like that. I just grew up around a whole bunch of Jakes. You know, so I never even really like gave that too much thought about white people because, you know, I'm poor and I ain't around white people. So you know, I ain't really too much thinking about them, you know. But then when I moved to Alabama, you know, in the projects, you know, it was smaller, so it was more Edomites down there. And we was poor, you know, and it used to cost like 50 cents to go to the community pool, you know, and it was 4 of us. You know, I grew up in a family of 4. So, you know, we wanted to go swimming. It was like $2. You know, my mom didn't have $2, you know, so she went to go try to get, you know, the $2 for us to go swimming. And she couldn't get it. You know, and I was, you know, I'm crying. I'm like, you know, tears rolling down my eyes. I look over and it's a car full of Edomites and they just happy. They just, you know, they jovial. They just having a good time. And I'm there crying because we can't get $2 to go swimming. And I remember I got so angry. And I yelled to the top of my voice, I hate white people. Like I don't know where it came from or why I said it. I just looked and seen that they was doing good, and it was just something in my spirit that knew that we was like this because white people did this to us, you know. And I think that really put in my spirit that these people ain't for us, you know, because the predicaments that we've been facing in this world, the root cause of the problem, you know, is them, you know, like, you know, at that age, you don't know, you know, it was that we broke the curse. So I'm automatically pointing to white people. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that was when I really understood. I never feared white people at all. You know, I just never been around them. But I always knew that, you know, the reason why we like this was because of them. You know, and that was I was probably about 7 years old, 6, 7 years old when that happened. And I knew, like, man, the reason why we poor and disenfranchised and all jacked up was because of what they did to us.
Facts. It's real, man. That's where a lot of Jake is at right now. You can see the tide turning. Like, a lot of Jake is really getting roused up, man, especially with the conversation of all the Hebrew Israelites being out here, man. You know, and Jake always been that type of people, but now they talking about reparations and everything. So that feeling ain't gonna ever go nowhere as far as Jake in America and Esau and the divisions. And Psalms 37 and 37 says, mark the perfect man, not so much who did mark you. It's like I'm reading up. It says, mark the perfect man. I don't have the whole precept. Matter of fact, let me grab it. I'm sure your brothers could recite it off the top. Yeah, let me just grab it real quick. I wrote only a little bit down. Psalms 37 and 37. It says here, mark the perfect man and behold the upright, for the end of that man is peace, but the transgressors shall be destroyed together. The end of the wicked shall be cut off, right? And we're taught in the scriptures, mark the perfect man. So not so much who did you mark, but why did you mark? Whoever you did mark, why did you mark them? What character traits did you see worth having? Because, you know, we tell the brothers all the time, mark you the perfect man. You know, that's a way. It's an ill way to be able to focus your attention on certain qualities, because a lot of this truth is really about follow it. Mm-hmm. You know, I heard Nate today on his when they on the podcast he was on with the African diaspora guy. Yeah, and he said, you know, they said he said your followers were standing around the Barclays. He said they're not my followers, they're Christ followers. And I'm just thinking, like, well, even Paul said, "Be followers of me, as I'm a follower of Yahushua." You got that same scripture?
Yeah, that's the first scripture I pulled up. I can read it.
Go ahead.
1 Corinthians 11 and 1. It says, "Be followers of me, even as I also am of Yahushua."
Yeah. To me, it seemed like he tried to wiggle his way out of, just in case the blowback happens, and then he could be like, "Nah, these guys are following Christ, not me." Mm-hmm. But yo, we're made to be leaders in this truth. We're taught and trained. We're trained. We're going through a training process when we first came in, up until now, to this very day. Right. And the training is being like our leaders, our spiritual leaders, the apostles. Being more and more disciplined in certain things and mentally prepared in preparations, and definitely disciplined in the scriptures and consistent in what we do. We learn consistency in this truth from our apostles. So the question again, like we know about marking a man that you see that have, you know, certain traits. What traits was you looking for when you marked whoever you did mark? You don't got to say what it is. What traits did they have that you were looking for at that time when you first came in, that you were like, oh, that's the guy?
Well, I'll start. I mean, obviously, I'm gonna say it like this. Of course, Yahushua being the perfect man, of course. You know what I'm saying? Which ain't, you know, it's not, I won't say it's a safe answer, but it's the true answer and a safe answer. Yahushua. You know what I'm saying? He's the perfect man. And let's say the apostles. Matter of fact, I got a precept. Another precept is Acts 2 and 42. It says, "And they continued steadfastly in the apostles' doctrine and fellowship, and in breaking bread and in prayers." So there's men set up that are directly that were there with Yahushua, that were directly there with Yahushua, that came immediately after Yahushua, and so on and so forth. There are men set up in that lot today. And us, how the hell we know? How we find out about the truth? The scriptures say, how shall they learn except they be sent a teacher or a preacher? Mm-hmm. So we learn from our preachers, our teachers, the men. Scripture said faith coming by hearing. So I'll say it like this, you know, each and every last one of them men, even brothers, y'all brothers, all have attributes and qualities that everybody can take from y'all, you know, and incorporate within himself, you know. So I mean, shit, Marky the perfect man. Say that question one more time, Bubba Kashad, bro.
Yep. Psalms 37:37, mark you the perfect man. So not so much who did you mark, but why did you mark who you did? Whoever it was you did, why did you mark them? Like what character traits did they have that you see that was worth having? What were you looking for? Because these are like spiritual fathers for us. These are like spiritual role models. When you look for a role model as a child, you look for something, or as a young man growing up in the city, wherever, you're looking for somebody that's an example. Like, man, I want to be, Jake always talk about it, man. It was the drug dealers for me. All I had was a pimp, but when we came to this truth, we was like, oh, it's some solid men in this truth, man. And then somebody through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahshua, usually it's somebody or some elder, all right, some apostle that caught your eye, and you was just like, yeah, man, it's a connection.
Yeah, well, shit, I took from certain men, or you could take from certain men attributes such as mercy, diligence, exhortation, just being fiery. I mean, so many things, bro. I honestly can't just pinpoint one attribute from one man per se, but definitely, of course, Apostle Hall was that, is the head of GMS. He was in the front line, so to speak, and then the other apostles. So that's what you see first for the most part, and then you just pick up and you find your own rhythm, bro. You find your own rhythm through the spirit, and you take pieces from. See, it's not like we taking pieces from other camps. That's where you fuck up. You know what I'm saying? So ain't nothing wrong with taking piece from different men within the same congregation, same doctrine. Because we brothers got it. Brothers got it. Apostles, elders, bishops, brothers got it, man. Brother Yahshua might be on something. I'm like, damn, I want to get more into that. Or our Elder Ariella, or you, Elder Rapah, or like Tazuam, and just different things like that. I want to, but you got to pray on that, bro. That's one thing too. You could mark the perfect man, but if you ain't really praying on it and applying that diligence, then it ain't never gonna happen.
That's right.
It really ain't never gonna happen, bro. So yeah, that's pretty much it, I guess.
Y'all brothers jump in.
I would say diligence, and the fact that the men knew what they were talking about and were very eloquent and historically sound. That was something I had never seen. You know what I'm saying? Looking up words, going into Hebrew. So it's like we learn Hebrew, Greek, words, and historically, like this truth has pretty much helped us as men, period. Like we have stepped our game up as men in spirit, through coming into this truth, man. Like in all aspects of life, better cooks, getting into herbs. Like brothers are chefs, like on a high level. Like brothers have upped their game. So I would say all around what I've got is diligence, and backing up, what you say with facts, like the understanding of words, that aspect of this truth as that was like, wow, that was impressive to me. The sacrifice too, the sacrifice of coming out week in and week out under Yahweh Shai sacrifice. We as well have a sacrifice, and that's literally, what it feels like as we're laboring in this truth. You could tell this is like this is a sacrifice. This is,
Yeah. I mean, there's two ways I can look at it. From outside looking in, when you're on just watching the apostles and elders through YouTube, what are you seeing? You're seeing diligence. You're seeing people who are enduring. You can see people who have sold out their life for this truth and completely dedicated themselves to what they're reading in the scriptures and fulfilling it and walking it out. And you're seeing that example lead from the front. And just like Elder Yahshua was talking about, once you start to really listen to what the apostles are going through and studying it, and you're taking notes and you're researching for yourself, goodness gracious, you have to go through all of the scriptures. And when you couple that with the willingness to actually prophesy and go through the prophecies to link everything, because you don't see that really in a lot of these other camps. Let's just be honest, they're not thoroughly going through the prophecies and breaking and linking things up. You don't get that anywhere else like here. And so there's just a level of diligence within the doctrine, which is that's it. And the Apostle Tahar set it up that way. When you really understand and get around them, and now this is where I say you can go into more personally getting to know the apostles and elders. I mean, just the patience that they had when literally rearing us up, you know, extreme amount of patience. And when you learn some of the things that happened back in the old school, you see how the example of Apostle Tahar never quitting, how he's just the Most High was just always on him just to continue, and just that discipline, which is the beginning of wisdom. And that's why, you know, you see that regimented discipline mindset, which was paramount, you know. And so getting to know them, just seeing how they treated each other. I mean, I never got to be around people who treated each other with so much respect. And you learn. The first time I got around the Apostle, that literally changed my life. It changed my whole perspective of what it meant to like be a brother. Like I was immediately upgraded. Me and Amashaba first met the Apostle and the elders. We on our way back, we were like just blown away with seeing how they talk to each other and was brothers to each other, and how they serve one another, and how they talk with just the, you know, truly speaking to each other with just paramount respect and in order. And so I kind of got to see that even behind the scenes, even when we just eating chicken, you know, how they just dealt with each other with love, man. And I was like, okay, that's what that is. You see, they are locked in with each other, you know. And it was like, okay, we have to reproduce this when we get back to Dallas the best we can. I don't even know how to speak it. The only thing I know how to do is just be it. And there's a way. And I knew that was Yahushua. I knew that's what he was talking about when I got around him. And so personally, it being around them impacted me that way. And it just upgraded my whole way of looking at another man of the Lord and how to deal with them, and what we're actually spreading in love, you know, that real agape, you know, in this war that we're going through, you know. So
fire.
I gotta agree with the Elder Ariala on that. You know, well, really it was two things that really kind of, you know, got me as far as marking the perfect man and you know, liking the qualities. The first one was just the straight strength that I seen from, you know, all the brothers at Great Millstone, you know, especially out of New York, you know, Dallas, Chicago. I had never seen Jakes show that type of strength, you know, in public, you know, so that was just like, wow, you know what I'm saying? That like these brothers are strong. Like, in order for you to stand out there and be talking like that, you must know what you're talking about. So that's what really kind of pulled me into it, was the strength, but you don't understand the humility of it yet, you know. But the scriptures do say, receive the engrafted word with meekness, which is able to save thy soul. And like what the Elder Ariala said, when you actually get around the apostles and elders, and even other experienced camps, like, you know, me and the Elder Ratazar out here, we draw a lot of inspiration from the Dallas camp. You know what I'm saying? A lot of inspiration we draw through the spirit, and we set, you know, certain things up in our camp, kind of like how they do. And but you see, when you're around, you actually get to see the meekness of the ministry. You know, on the highways and byways, you can't really discern that, you know, because it's coming out so powerful and strong and breaking strongholds. But behind the scenes, when you really seeing brothers and their character, and like, I remember before I even met certain brothers and apostles, I was scared of them, because, you know, you pretty much making your image of them up from what you see on camera. So, you know, I was scared. You know, I was nervous. You know, like, yeah, I'm probably gonna get my ass cussed out. I don't even know why I'm gonna get cussed out. I just know I'm gonna get my ass cussed out. But then when you get around, it's just like, when you get to learn the meekness aspect of the truth, it's like you sold. You know what I'm saying? Like Yahushua said, learn of me, for I am meek. You know what I'm saying? Now, I got a scripture too. Since the spirit is dealing with that, dealing with the meekness of the ministry. That's why the Lord said we got to be as little children, and that's one characteristic that many can't hold, that spirit of meekness, boy. You know, because the spirit of meekness is rare in this world. But I'm gonna get this scripture real quick in the book of Proverbs 4, I believe, 22 and 4. I'm sorry, 1 second. This is Proverbs 22 and 4. By humility and the fear of the Lord are riches and honor and life. And I think that the example of humility that the apostles and elders, and even y'all elders, you know, I'm Juan Gabar, when we was just up there this past summer, seeing how you brothers maneuver, and, you know, the brotherly love that y'all showed, and, you know, Elder Wamba, of course, you know what I'm saying, you know, Elder Ariala, of course, you know, just being able to see that not from just one or two men, but from a administration of brothers, is like, man, that's like marking the perfect man, because that humility is one key component that Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai is grading us on in this flesh. How humble we gonna be. You know, I've always been drawn to brothers that know how to be strong but humble, because not many people can do that. Because a lot of people that got that strength, they be proud. You know what I'm saying? Niggas like Shaq and, you know, all these big bodybuilders and, you know, offensive linemen, them niggas be proud as hell. You know, but when you got a brother that's spiritually strong and you know, and has a lot of faith, but know how to bring himself to a low degree to catch the listener, it's like, damn, you know, you gotta think about how brothers feel, you know, when they a worm coming out of the world and they looking at brothers and they like, wow, you know, this elder is making me feel comfortable. He's making me feel, you know, like I'm somebody. And that's the only way you can do that is through the humility. You know, when Yahweh Shai called the little child, and he's likened the truth unto that little child, and he said, you know, except you be a child and converted, you can't enter into the kingdom. It's like, I see that, you know, when I come around, you know, experienced brothers in this truth. So I would say the strength of teaching the word and the humility of treating each other.
Beautiful.
I got precept, bro.
Bring it out.
Yup, Salak. This is John 13 and 34. Just to add on to what the brother said. You know, all the Hakim. This is 34. It says, "New commandment I give unto you, that ye love one another as I have loved you, that ye also love one another. By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if ye have love one to another." And I had to bring that out, bro, because everything the brothers were saying, and, you know, even you and I replied that shit, when we first, you know, got around the apostles off street or off camera or off teaching, it was a whole new world. So what y'all brothers saying from across the states, we experienced, you know, similar, you know, in the same manner as y'all did, bro. Even though we was right there, you know, since we came in, but the same exact experience and the feeling that y'all brothers explaining and exhibiting is how it went down with us too. You know, the off camera, and then see, that's why these niggas that ever came up against the apostles and the bishops, the Lord got special judgment for them, because them reservoir dogs right there, bro. They really hate each other. There's no honor amongst thieves. But when you watch how the apostles and the elder bishops and all, they deal with each other on a personal level, besides what we see on screen, but on a personal level, bro, that's something we all can take, and that's something we all took, you know. And that's what y'all brothers are pretty much saying, which is the humility factor, which ultimately is key, bro. You know, how many times we gonna say, you know, it's gonna come out that one of the key ingredients for longevity in the truth. I think the elder apostle Ramla did a video recently on that, and he said that one of the key ingredients is humility. You know what I'm saying? Taking it low. You know, like Tazwan said, being as that child, who's greatest in the kingdom. You know, you don't see little kids, little infants, toddlers boasting who's better than who. I mean, yeah, they little kids, but at the end of the day, you put them in their place and discipline, and they're gonna take correction. You know, a lot of men can't do that, bro. But you know, I just wanted to add that point, my brother.
Yeah, and this is laying back off you. I'm on the bar. It's important, man, because majority of people that we encounter on a daily basis is proud as hell. I'm talking about extremely proud for no reason. We have wisdom, knowledge, and understanding Yahweh Hashem Shai, and the Lord is expecting us to be the total opposite, to be humble, to be meek. It's like, how do you teach the word with strength and power and fearless, bold and courageous, and then you be humble? That's powerful, man.
Damn.
You know, those are two magnetic spiritual things that always drew me to, you know, especially Elder Ariala. You know, I gotta say that. You know, how he speaks and comes at you and make things plain, keep it real with you. It's like it's powerful. But then when you around him on a personal settings and you talking to, he's humble. You know, and we get that from Yahweh Shai. You know, we get all of these characteristics from Yahweh Shai. And I think that when you have those two characteristics, you couple that with faith, oh man, you know, that's a powerful characteristic, you know. But that's all I got, bro.
Hey, Ariala, you want to throw? Oh, Salaki, Eliashua, you going to say something? Okay. I see you threw some scripts on there. You wanted to touch on those for a second? I'll put them up.
Okay, kind of, I can. The scripture is Ephesians, the 3rd chapter, and starting down at the 7th verse, it reads, it says, "Wherefore I was made a minister according to the gift of the grace of the Most High given unto me by the effectual working of his power," right? "Unto me who am less than the least of all saints." So we see Paul writing this about his portion of ministry given unto him to do through the gift of the Heavenly Father, right? And so we know what Paul was doing. It says, it says, "Who am least than the least of all saints, is this grace given that I should preach among the Gentiles the unsearchable riches of Hamashiach, and to make all men see what is the fellowship of the ministry, from which the beginning of the world have been hid in the Most High." All right, so really just teaching the mindset of coming under this fellowship, coming underneath this way. Paul was writing to do that, and that's the same commission that was given to all the apostles, to go out and spread this word, to go out and spread, all right, the fellowship of this ministry. And you can see the full body of it, not only just listening to the breakdowns and getting that kind of like the study part of things, but there is a certain way and character amongst them personally that we see, and it exudes, you know, the brotherhood, it exudes that agape love, it exudes that charity and willingness to just, this is what I'm about. I've given my life up for this. I don't know what you're gonna do, but as long as you're around me, we're doing this. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And just selling out to this idea of serving in that way in your whole life, and how you are. You know, you see it play out in that expression, right? And it says to the intent that now unto the principalities and powers in heavenly places might be known by the church the manifold wisdom of the Most High, according to the eternal purpose which he purposed in Hamashiach Yahushua our Lord. And so just continuing on to preach this way. And when you read these other letters, Paul really gets into the mindsets of breaking down how we are amongst the churches and spreading the way of Yahushua HaMashiach among men. And you see that play out, especially when you deal more closely with the apostles and the elders. And, you know, we follow them even as Yahushua in the way of this doctrine, in the way that is being delineated. We are doing something. And we're following it just as the scriptures say to follow it, when you really read and understand it. And so it's a real cool thing, bro. You're a part of something great. And you know, if you're not excited, you really don't know what you're doing right now.
Through.
I said we all ended with some scriptures. What do y'all think, man?
Absolutely.
I think another 7 more minutes. Gabar, what you holding over there? So yeah, you know, also wanted to ask, you know, as a final question, pretty much, family reactions. You know, you get into this word and you get into this truth. You know, especially now for the new brothers coming in. Meanwhile, SPLC is labeling us the number one, pretty much the number one hate group, because if you add up to tally it up for every state we involved with, All right, we either number 1 or 2 on the list. And you know, you're getting a lot of crazy family reactions. What's your advice for brothers first coming in and who's coming in at this time now? You know, a lot of new viewers watching now, you know, a lot of new Aquath on the channels and Akia, mainly the, you know, we here for the brothers. Most importantly, what is your and the elect, of course. How do they deal with families coming in, getting involved, and or just catching hell with, you know, how do they deal with hell in general? Anybody want to jump in there?
Yeah,
Go for it.
I mean, you're gonna deal with this in multiple. Other brothers can go first.
I'd be real quick, you know, for the sake of time. I just say, man, in this truth, man, don't ever give up your full position. You know, sometimes through zeal, you will just cuss out the room, you know, and you interrupting Thanksgiving dinner, you know, teaching people that line, you on a chicken run, you know, you all in the store telling people to put the pork back. I would say just, you know, just really like don't give your position up too much. You know, just understand, don't cast your pearls before swine. Understand that the Lord gave you the gift of this truth. And hey man, just get it for yourself. In that way, you know, if somebody is going to get it, eventually you build yourself up to the point to where you can deliver it without yelling and you know, fucking people day up. You know, so I would say, you know, just because I've made that mistake before. You know, you just at the barbecue, you get it, you get the swirling that glass around, it's get ready to go down. You looking at your family like, hey, off. You know, you get ready to scratch the record, but the whole time the scripture says, what when what was it? When thou departest from evil, thou makest thyself a prey. So we got to move in the fashion of a sheep. And I would just say, man, just keep it cool, Jake. You know, just wake up. You know what I'm saying? Learn the structure of the camp. Learn how to serve the Lord. You know, purge, cleanse yourself. You know, grow in the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, and just keep it simple.
It kind of sound like you don't owe. It made me think what you were just saying. You don't owe your family. You don't owe anybody in this world anything, but you owe your house shot everything. You know, so when you coming in, you know, they looking for answers. They trying to quiz you, beat you up, and make you feel. That's the instant reaction of a hater or somebody that any Jake has got the crab in the barrel mentality for everything, just about everything. When it's positive, people react to negative and more better than they react to positive, especially when they relied on you to be an idiot or a fool, or some people just relied on you, who you was, that person you was, that entity you was before you came to the truth. And now you realize you're waking up, you changing your ways, you maturing, you getting involved with brothers. You got brothers now, you got schedules, you got timing. And the first thing they can't rely on you the same way no more. And so naturally they're going to react with certain types of aggressions and make you feel a certain type of way. That's projection. You know, understanding what they just doing is their last. That's their last. That's all they have left to do. Fighting. That's their last fighting chance, is to some type of way draw you out, right? By the you know, with the insecurities that they're used to you having. Just try to pull you back to your lot as some type of house nigga or whatever you was doing, lying on the couch potato, whatever the hell you was doing, and you know. And so, you know, the scriptures real quick, Sirach is 22:2, set thy heart aright and constantly endure. You know, you make that change, you make that commitment, because we all made, through the spirit of Yahweh Shem Yahshua, we made commitments. Yahweh Shem Yahshua willing, we keep those commitments. The commitments to the Father and his Son, through the spirit of Yahweh, through the spirit of Rakak Wadash, we gonna constantly endure, you know. And constantly, man, we okay with the fact that this is a life choice. We're okay with that. You know, some people get all bothered about it. Well, this for forever? Yeah, it's all right, because when the reward is clear, you know, that's what Jordan Peterson clip was all about. When the more clearer that reward is, right? Just even dealing with how the scripture says, you know, a lot of times one brought out earlier, when there's no vision, the people perish. Just dealing with the reward factor, when as long as you keep that clear and you set you know, you get your sights on that reward, even if on a reward basis, you should be clear on what you're getting out of this whole thing, right? The disciples asked the Lord the same question. What do we get for serving you and following you, Lord? He said you should be sitting on 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel, right? 12 thrones. So there's a reward factor, ultimately, or and to add to that arsenal, you have everything that Yahweh Shah went through for us, man, to gain that victory. All right, everything he went through for us, that's what we have to fight off of. That's our mold. We're of his stead, and it says, and constantly endure and make not haste in time of trouble. So you're ready for trouble. Brothers is here is ready for trouble. We acknowledge that trouble is going to happen and come to pass. So just constantly endure, man. We got each other, which is another beautiful asset of the truth. Right. We got each other. Go ahead, Ella. Yes, one, but then we finish off with Ella Gabar, and we out of here.
Yeah. Man, I mean, what can I say that you didn't just say? Shit, how am I supposed to
hey, the spirit said it, brother. I don't even remember what I said, bro.
I mean, Colossians 4:5 says, walk in wisdom towards them that are without, redeeming the time. So, walk with wisdom, towards the people in this world. Understand you don't have a victory here. We all listen to the people who came before you, man. We'll tell you, it's a waste of time trying to wake up your coworker and, write down precept package, like, and the Lord is going to draw into this thing who he wants to draw in. You don't want to give yourself any extra attention. Be rooted in what you believe in, understand what you're fighting for, as the elder just said, immortality. When Yahweh Shai finished his duty, he told the Lord, he said, look, I finished the work which you gave me to do. Now return me to the glory that I had with you from the beginning. Understanding your true origin, it's above, being born into this. Like, our true origin is in the beginning with Yahweh Shai. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we're fighting to get back to, that immortal state, so we can finally rule here on earth and set up the most beautiful government this earth has ever seen. So understand what you're fighting for, understand the severity of what's happening, hey, and be in order, but definitely out in this world, don't be wilding out. The Lord, Yahweh Shai, never gave us the go ahead to be assholes in this world, to use this wisdom to just treat people like shit. And, when we out on the highways and the byways, of course, the word is going to come out.
Yeah.
But as we're in this world, you got to deal with wisdom. People shouldn't have no evil to say of you outside of the fact that you was just who you were, So walk with wisdom, towards them that are without, and be rooted in what you believe in, understand what you're fighting for, and call on, call on the names of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Lean on Yahweh Shai more. We have to push that more, man. Leaning on that blood, that sacrifice, because that's the only way we getting out of here. Comfort in that blood. What Yahweh Shai did covers us if we're of that number. So that's it.
You gotta just follow take it as seriously as the apostles did back in the ancient world. Like when you had this word, you couldn't just go and do anything. You could get you killed. And that's why they were very directed with the way that they brought the word out. And it tells you how they did. They didn't tell you that they did it like this. It tells you it was very, they had a mindset of that. Okay, this is a revolutionary doctrine, a doctrine that the world is going to hate. And we're soldiers behind enemy lines, and we're being intentional with this and building something spiritually. So you just got to focus on what you're a part of, and know that the way it was established among you, it didn't just happen. It was structured to it. The Most High dealt with it. It was breathed through the spirit of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai into something. So, just take it seriously as your forefathers did. Understand that they got killed for this doctrine. So they were mindful of how it came out,
It's facts. 1 second, Gabar. Go ahead.
Right. I'll say this. For the new young brothers, less is more. All right, less is more. The less you tell, your family members, the more beneficial it'll be for you. Because at the end of the day, I'm gonna bring out this quick precept, Matthew chapter 10 and 36. And a man's foe shall be there of his own household. So less is more. The less you say, the better off you will be. Because at the end of the day, the scriptures also say this, Luke 4 and 24. And he said, verily, I say unto you that a prophet is not accepted in his own country. So ain't nobody gonna accept what you gotta say, bro. Especially if you're still living under the household of your parents. And that's another point. Pick your help. Pick your help. And the reason why I say that is because you may be in a situation where you still live with your parents, right? And you hate it. They giving you hell. You catching all types of hell. No matter where you go, how you do it, how you swing it, you're going to catch hell. Now, you could leave your parents' house and go catch another type of hell, which is financial hell. Now you got to work and bust your ass, what you're supposed to be doing anyway. But now the bills are going to come rolling in. And now a different type of hell is going to come. So pick your hell. Would you rather deal with the bullshit of your family members, or you rather just be on your own and deal with whatever the Lord is going to throw at you, man? I mean, most of us here, we picked the latter. We left our parents a long time ago. You know what I'm saying? And just the Lord just dealt with what the Lord had to throw at us, man. So pick your hell. No matter what you do, you're going to catch hell. So don't, the less is more, man. The less you say in your house, if you still live with your parents, the better it is for you. And like some of the elders just said, no need to be going throughout the job, declaring you an Israelite, which is the reason why we tell brothers and you few sincere sisters out there, whatever, about the fringe situation and all that, Israelites out there wearing fringes, jeopardizing their own livelihood. That's on them. All right. Learn from brothers that learn from men that been in this more than twice our lifespan in this truth, man. So yeah, that's all I gotta say, bro.
Yeah, and with that, we're just gonna give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Again, double honors to the apostles and elders who rule well over the flock of Israel. Shalom and salutation to all you brothers out here that's pushing the words of truth and sincerity. Shalom. I brought this out. This is edifying, man. A little holy conversation. Excited to just have a conversation with brothers, man. That's how you build up rapport, right, and you build up the fold. The brother just brought it out how the Lord said, this is how they gonna know that I deal with you, or that you're my men, by how you treat each other. So you're gonna Abaradazah continue that trend. And the water for having the elders here on the board for pulling up. And Abaradazah soon, above the ball, till we about here. Shalom, shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
Y'all brothers stay put. Hold on.